after we were just discussing some of the things, I'm very excited to hear about his talk. So his bio is, he's a former NFL athlete who has transcended the playing field to become a multifaceted entrepreneur and community leader. Combining his athletic experience with an MBA, he established a successful asset protection business, which is now flourishing under his family's care. Driven by a strong sense of purpose, Antonius founded a 501c3 organization supporting domestic violence victims. Beyond his own ventures, Antonius dedicates himself as a life strategist to Wise Protective Services and more, which is a 501c3. Leveraging his diverse background, he contributes crucial knowledge, guidance, and understanding to raise funds for victims, addressing both their mental and physical needs. His innovative approach empowers individuals to navigate challenges and achieve desired outcomes. Furthering his impact, Antonius draws upon his federal law enforcement background to not only achieve personal success, but also uplift others. With his supportive partner, they raised 2 sons and helped countless clients realize their full potential. Antonius embodies the spirit of service and empowerment, making him a force for positive change in both personal and professional spheres. So give it up for Antonius. I'm excited.
So, that was a great introduction. Thank you so much. So, what I want to talk to you guys about, we're going to get a little deep. So, just open your mind. Well, I think a lot of people, they're not getting the playbook. So that's the main problem with many of us. No one's not really telling us the playbook. So that's what I want to introduce you all to. So, all right. So here's some things kind of take into consideration when you first start off. People, a lot of times people ask me, like, I want to start creating wealth. So if you start from zero, understand what are the needs in your community. First, you got to find that out. So once you find that out, it's like, okay, well, how can I obtain those skills? Once you be able to obtain those skills, now you can monetize them. And that's something I did similar to this community. I used to be here over a decade ago. So we got a lot of clubs and venues. I started a security company. So from there, it was like, okay, well, how can I get clients? So a lot of these big time clubs where these rich people go, I would say, let me protect you for free. But that's how I originally started. That's it. And then I would bring on other, people, big guys who I know can do security, but I started hiring them. So I tell people all the time, like, sometimes you may gotta volunteer to get people's trust. So that's one thing I'm very good on that servitude thing. You may have to do a volunteer, which is cool. And if you're gonna do it for your community, we'll talk about 501c3s in a minute. All right, so what do we got? So here's the 2 truths. All right, so in the past 4 years, I helped clients save over $1,000 in taxes. And I'm show you guys a couple of W-2 and tax returns from some of my clients with that in real time. I mean, a lot of people say, yeah, get all this money back. I'm gonna show you what it's really like with someone that has my strategy. And also, secondly, I typically, like I said, people, if you're making about $200,000, my thing is, I want to say, with me, you will at least say within 10 years close to $500,000 from that standpoint. But you got to be legally set up to get produced. So my goal at the end of the day is to save, W-2, 1099 people over $1 billion in taxes by 2030. So this is my damn. All right. So let's get into it. I'm about to debunk the biggest myth that's out there right now. So we're living off 2 systems. Most people, well, they tell us that it's rich versus poor. Nope. Black versus white. Nope. Man versus woman. Nope. It's simple. It's EIN versus Social Security number. Those that operate on the EIN, you have up to 475 deductions. And those that operate on the social, you only got 8, which is mortgage interest, a couple kids, health savings plan, maybe 401k or TSP if you're a government employee, maybe 3 others. Well, when you operate on an EIN, you got 475. So the reason why you get 475 operating on EIN, because the government looks at it like you have a relationship with us. You're bringing value to society. That's what that EIN tells the government. You want to be in a relationship. when you're on the social, the government looks at like you're just a debt slave. You just go home, go to work, that's it. So when you're a debt slave, for every dollar you make, you get 60, the government gets 40. So as of 2018, that's what changed up the whole ball game. You know, that particular motion, they wanted to try to start businesses. And that's where some of us kind of, got it in a sense. But I was like, well, what's the full playbook of it? So that's why I'm here to kind of teach you guys. All right. So, I talked about getting the EIN and all that good stuff. Whatever. Okay, well, I got this W-2. So I'm paying $30,000, $40,000 in taxes. So there's 4 ways that the government awards you tax breaks as of 2018, right? One is investing. This is what Warren Buffett and Grant Cardone uses all the time. When I say investing, think about investing in yourself, or hiring coaches and strategists to help you with this stuff. I'm gonna get into the whole time portion a little bit later. Number 2 is land appreciation of real estate. This is what certain presidents use. Yeah. They were pretty good at it. Number 3 is crazy job entrepreneurship. Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk and a certain president use it as well. As y'all can see in the news, y'all read the news like I see. And number 4 is, here's the one people are missing. Being a founder of a public nonprofit, you're allowed to donate 60% of your AGI to your own operating nonprofit. And the reason why the IRS understands that it needs seed money to get started. So you got this W-2 income, you can donate 60% and get that deduction, which is huge. A lot of us do the work in the community already, volunteer, be taking kids to practice, all kind of stuff. So we start a nonprofit for it, guess what you can do? You'll be able to get that deduction.
That's only for the owner, or is that only for the owner's account, or the file? Or is that anyone, anybody?
Yeah. It could be, if you're working up under, a lot of, so you got bylaws and things, you got a certain structure with your 501c3. So that's not, talk to your people, from that standpoint. But just from a general standpoint, the founder, that's what, you're going to be able to take that deduction. Now keep in mind too, there's a difference between public and a private. Yeah, a private is going to be 30%. I suggest a lot of times that people, when you want a private, if you got like millions and billions of dollars, but if you just started boots on the ground, like I was making like 60,000. Let me get this public, because I want help from everybody, all the community. Where, what I'm saying, with the private or not, you just want to be the big boss. But like I said, if you just started out, like I said, you're making 50, 60, 70, start out in your public. So you can get that huge tax deduction and use it towards, or what you want to do with the charity. Give an example. I'm going to get started a bit more. When I first started, I hired an assistant at a grant writer, so they can bring in more money. Then I start hiring other people as staff. So that's why I tell people you can use them tax dollars for that, for your mission. And I would subcontract to do domestic violence. I would have off-duty police officers. I would pay them to go to the ladies back to their home to get their stuff. So just understanding that, like I said, use them tax dollars to invest back into your nonprofit. It's not a profit and nonprofit. Just keep on hunting. So here's the big one here too. Most people, they think tax avoidance and tax evasion are the same thing. Hey, look, the difference between tax avoidance and tax evasion. Tax avoidance is that, hey government, I got these business entities, and I want business entities and nonprofit, and I want to use to offset my W-2 income. The government looks at it like, okay, well, you're in a relationship with us. We'll allow you to avoid taxes. Tax evasion is saying, government, catch me if you can. Right. That ain't what you don't want to do. You don't want to do that. It's like an ex-girlfriend. Hey, you better keep them in the loop. You better, hey, let them know this is what it was. Don't try to ghost them. Never try to ghost the IRS. I see so many people, they think they didn't get away. And they come back. The IRS, they went out of interest. Okay, don't talk to us. That's cool. Yeah. All right, we'll come back and get you at some point. Then you're looking later down the road like, man, you just start taking your, when you want to travel, your passport and all that kind of stuff, whatever. So just keep that in mind. Don't go. Here's the big one too. Now, when I did a lot of speeches, I noticed people not understanding how to escape the middle class, right? So when I say that, many of us, we know how to 9 to 5, but we don't understand how to 5 to 9. When I say 5 to 9, meaning that we got to start getting rid of bad habits. We're poor people. When I say poor people, mindset, not physically, it's all in the mind. That's gossip, overeating. mean, watching a bunch of porn, running the streets, all that kind of stuff. Where we can be studying like things like crypto, real estate, whole life insurance, IUL, and most importantly, in strategists and coaches to teach you this stuff. Because when you're a grown functional adult, right, you get 4 discretionary hours. When you get married, you get 2. When you have kids, you get 1. You only get 1 hour a thing. So this is why you gotta be open to hiring cultural strategists, to assist you with this stuff. If you live at least like 120 days, it'll increase your chances of success. All right. Now, I mentioned earlier to you all about the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act in 2018. So y'all know that they took away the unreimbursed expenses. They're like, man, I can't write on shit I used to, perform with it. I can write on pretty much anything with that. But the reason why it's ordinary necessary, Section Code 162A. I'm gonna go a little deeper dive with it. But once they took away the unreimbursed expenses, it was just they wanted you to try to start a business, just try, so you get the deduction. Most people are like, well, my business needs to be up and running, whatever. No, I already know it's gonna take seed money to get this stuff started. That's why I tell people when you're on a W-2 income, you need to have your legally set up business so you can get those deductions. And I can tell ladies all the time, beauty costs. It's not cheap. All this stuff is a deduction. If you set up legally, you'll get a deduction. It's ordinary necessary. You're a business owner to go out to eat. Things that nature that look good. So all this stuff is a deduction. People gotta understand. So I want to talk about this second one, right? So yeah, they was pushing to, like I said, start businesses, right? So their goal was to get the country out of debt. There's 3 ways you get the country out of debt. One is wars. When I say wars, doing new deals, cutting out the middleman. It's like, nah, we're gonna cut them out for that. We need to do a new deal. So on that's how you keep wars from happening. Number 2 is legalizing natural resources. And number 3 is tax cuts. So when I saw these tax cuts coming, I was like, oh snap. They try to get the country out of debt. Everybody ain't gonna like that. So guess what? People gotta start understanding the playbook. So that's how you could have took advantage of it at that time. I'm gonna tell you how you can take advantage of it now. So right now what's going on, they're allocating tax dollars to programs, other countries, Ukraine, Zaire, things of that nature, whatever. Most people are like, man, look at our streets out here. We need to know about this stuff, whatever. So with that being said, by them allocating to other countries, it's gonna cause inflation to rise. But here's the crazy part. See, wealthy people, they know strategists, like myself. So another thing was, it was told that we don't tax the rich and all that kind of stuff. They sit back and laugh. How you gonna tax them if you zero tax income? So who they gonna come after? The middle class. So here's a solution for snap, weird. So here's the solution for it. This is why you need EIN and 501c3s. As a solution, this is why you need EINs and 501c3 set up, so you can receive the funds, based off your program, to do what you need necessary, for your community. That's one thing a lot of people don't understand. Like I said, they do the work, but they're not legally set up to take the deductions. So my thing is to help people like, look, and you doing this work, you gotta get some credit for it. Like, I don't mind helping the community, I don't mind helping other kids, I'm gonna run through my 501c3. So find what your passion. This is another one I want to speak about too. So many people ask me, they was like, okay, Wise, well, you told me to set up have an EIN, talk about nonprofits. How do I know which business entity to set up? always tell people, you want to set up based off the overall household income, what is coming in. Now, I'm talking about sole proprietorship. A lot of people just want to get an EIN, but like, I'm good. I'll advise them. I'll tell you why. Sole proprietorship, that's the most audited entity. You know why? Because you don't pay the state no fees. Like, we gotta come get you for, you know, contribute, you know, so, I mean, if that's what you gotta do, whatever, but just go ahead and be legally set up. Be a single member LLC. If your income is between 0 and 50,000, you need to be a single member LLC. Now, if your income is between, many of us fall in at 50,000, 300,000, and we're talking about W-2 now, included whole household income coming in, you need to be an LLC tax as S corporation. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because number one, you get to save on 15.3% self-employment tax. And then two, you can have multiple years worth of losses. And then three, a material participant that they offer you as an S corporation. Now, if you have business income, when I talk to a lot of non-professional athletes, when they get that business income over 300,000 coming in, then you need to be an LLC tax as a C corporation. So that state, you know, you tax at the 37% tax rate. Well, the C corp is locking in at a 21% tax rate. So it's something to take into consideration when you think about which business entity you set up based off your overall household income that's coming in. Okay, not a problem. The juicy. All right, so I'm gonna tell you guys this story, right? Check this out. Remember how I told you guys I used to stay here over a decade ago? So I used my refund check to start my own nonprofit. Right. So with that being said, I knew that the government give away, you know, funds and rewards based off of programs. So I was like, well, I'm starting my own nonprofit. So fast forward over a decade to now, I had $160,000 worth of student loans. But they got forgiven. You know why? Because I work for a nonprofit. You know what nonprofit I work for? Mine. You know, this is what I tell people. Be legally set up, you can take advantage of this. So I put myself in a position, no matter who was president, I'm gonna get mine. You know, so I don't have to be hamstrung by, okay, vote for this person, vote for this person. Like, no, you gotta go for the person who's gonna make a deal with you. If they ain't willing to make no deal with you, I'm gonna give you no money. That's kind of logical. All right, so why you should start a nonprofit? You know, mission driven, tax exempt, you know, eligible grants, community support, bringing value to society, student loan forgiveness, and employee family generational wealth. Yes, you can hire your family with a nonprofit. You can. And I would say this: if you're going to hire your family, especially at the top, make sure they got skills. Don't just put them in the third. You know what I mean? Don't put them in 12th grade and in the 3rd grade. Don't do that. Make sure they got skills. You don't want nobody like you doing nepotism and all that. Whatever. But if I know someone is good at accounting, I'm gonna put them there, or they're a lawyer, whatever, within my family, because they'll have your back more than someone else. You know, especially from asset protection. I'm gonna get into that a little later. That's a little, I don't say touching or whatever, but it can be used as asset protection. All right. So here's ways nonprofits to make money. You got grants, which we all know, and fee-based services and programs. Give an example. So I have my life strategy program is run through my nonprofit, right? So I assist domestic violence survivors and battered individuals. So a lot of batters, there's a financial literacy portion that I have in there, you know, to assist them, you know, that they come out of situations wherever with the financial literacy portion. What I noticed with the batterers, many times, you know, they was doing things because of finances. So I was just like, okay, if finances is the key, let me take this program out and I'm gonna market it to society and be able to raise money for it. So when I noticed in the pandemic, what a lot of people was going through, I call it the 4 pillars of life: taxes, relationships, emotions, and health. So that's how I was able to be able to raise over $1 million within a year teaching people this stuff. It just got to a point where the tax portion just really took off, so I had to kind of separate it. You know, but nonprofits can have programs. My whole point is telling you all this. So then you got contracts. Give an example. So one of the contracts we have is with Medicaid. So for every survivor or batterer we see, Medicaid pays. We got a contract. And sponsorships, I have Secret Service. They give me over hundreds of laptops every year.
on the computer, it'll say reconnect. At the top, it says reconnect.
Popped up.
What you reading? That was something about that power. I see that. See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying?
Well, while they are working on the tech issues, what are two key takeaways you've gotten so far? Or I can go first. One thing that I took away so far is that I am in the wrong business structure. I should really be an escort. So that was eye-opening for me because people say talk about the switch from LLCs to escorts, but they don't tell you like what are the requirements or how do you actually get there. So that was one takeaway for me. And then also the tax deductions versus social security deductions. So 475 versus 8. So I'll take it back to you and tell me.
Oh, cool, yeah, here we go. So like I said, you have sponsorships, such as we have like the Commanders, Secret Service, NFL, just got a grant from IRS. You have donors. Donors are, people who are gonna give you 5, 10, 15,000 that you know personally. Then you got endowments. If many of y'all went to school, you guys remember those pictures on the wall of those old people? That's who control the literature, because they need endowments. So based off what they want, the school's gonna teach you. And then of course you have donations. And like I said earlier, the advantage of a nonprofit is you tax deductions, street labor, and asset protection. The reason why I say it's a hot topic, give you an example. How many of y'all married? Okay, how many of y'all single? Okay, all right, this is for single people right here. So just say you have a lot of assets, right? And you start your nonprofit. Every nonprofit, you gotta have at least 3 people on the board, right? So I advise you put, 2 people on the board, that you and Holly get together with. So you put 3 people on the board. So you go ahead and get married, before you get married, you put your assets in the nonprofit, right? So you put your assets in the nonprofit, now you find love. Okay, 2, 3 years down the road, they won't be determined irreconcilable differences, right? So they go on to the judge. Hey, judge, I want to get half of this house or whatever, but it's in the nonprofit. So for it to get up to nonprofit, them 3 people on the board got to vote. Are they going to vote to get it out for that? No. So just something to think about, when you want to do, like asset protection, things of that nature. I don't want to say it's exactly like a trust, but it's something similar when you're making money in the matrix. Now, when you start making like a bunch of money, I don't say like in the millions, whatever, that's when trust starts coming into play. But when you're just coming off, like I said, 100,000, 200,000, you still want to protect your assets from that position too. Oh, here's one for retirees, right? So a lot of government people that I knew, they were retiring, going to another job, they still got life, right? So I tell them, if you're gonna go work for another job, you already got health benefits from your retirement job. So if you're gonna go work for another job, you really wanna set up your consulting company, have your LLC, things of that nature. So what you can do when you go work for them people, you can tell them like, look, on my W-9, I wanna use the EIN instead of my social. Meaning that now you're gonna be able to unlock those 475 deductions. And then you don't have to worry about that 15.3% self-employment tax. So you can ask for a raise, like, look, you take 7, I take 7, we can split this. So that's something to take into consideration for people that retire. Think about starting your own consulting, company with you. Instead of me working for your company, I want to work with you. Like I said, because you don't need to have insurance. Okay. So here's one of my clients, you guys. So y'all remember the W-2s that they gave us earlier in the year? All right. So one of my clients, right? So they, paid over $377,000. So in their box too, this is what they take out of your check, right, for the whole year. Y'all see that $63,440. So and statewide they took $28,340. So that's about close to about 91-ish that they paid in taxes. This is what I got back as a refund. Federal wise, I got them at $47,476. Statewide, I got them at $18,877. For my strategy, and I'm gonna tell you guys the difference between a regular CPA and a strategist in a second. But when you do tax planning, these are the results that you get, the tax planning. And there's a difference between tax planning and tax prep. I'm gonna tell you guys about that.
You do amended taxes.
Say it again.
You do amended taxes.
Well, we have to talk about it. Some people be having some drama, you know what I mean? But yeah, but these are, like I said, from the, people want to ask, okay, how much you charge? I charge 10% of your overall income. So they end up getting that, what is it, 47, 18, about 60, about 65-ish. So from a 35, 37K investment, one time investment though. And it's a tax deduction because I ran through the nonprofit. So it's a tax deduction on top of that. So from that 10% investment, they were able to get that 65. But they were told for 91. So they left some money on the table, from that perspective. Now, since they're gonna come back, it's just a flat fee of $7,000 yearly. So we do have we call it I don't say administration fee or whatnot, but a membership. Because I'm gonna get it, like I said, the whole difference between CPA and strategist, whatever kind of just bring in.
That's
Most of
per
us just got
EIN.
CPAs, huh?
That's per EIN, so we charge them just like a flat fee per EIN.
Oh, well, no, it's just a flat fee. Yeah, for all so we handle all your tax stuff.
So if I'm coming to you and I have 3 EINs and a nonprofit, you're gonna be able to do everything under that one fee.
Yeah, we'll be able to handle it all under that, yeah.
So I have a question before you flip to this page, which is, and you don't make it granular, but clearly the refund was all built up upon the fact that you took this person from 355 on the AGI and dropped them down to 121 on their taxable income. So, I mean, that's significantly better.
Yeah,
Right, I'm saying, I mean, so you tell me they were W-2 to 355.
yeah, so they had a combination of W-2, real estate, what else, military income, and I think someone worked at Amazon.
Okay.
So they had an EIN with their real estate stuff. So it's a combination. Remember those 4 things I told you earlier?
Right.
Investing, real estate appreciation, creating job entrepreneurship, and nonprofit. They had a combination of those 4. That's how you get the zero taxable income. After 2018, you got to be doing a combination of those 4. You see, no one is telling people that. So that's the issue that I had with giving people the playbook. So being a strategist, this is what I got to do. And I'm just going to say that that's the difference between regular CPAs and strategists. Go for it. Click on it. So most CPAs, and they make it compliant. They do tax prep. Take your taxes to them, file my taxes. Talk to them one time every year. With a strategist, they're gonna cost. But what y'all gonna do, y'all gonna sit down, develop a tax plan, submit any documents to the IRS, get approved, and use common tax time. That's the difference between the strategists. Now, strategists, they hire CPAs to do work. So it just depends on what's your appetite as a client. You wanna just be compliant, or you wanna be like, sure, I like that. So that's what you gotta understand. So if your CPA, it's not developing your strategy to get your money back, you need to ask them, are you working for me or for the IRS? It's just that simple. Like I said, it's no shade, but it's levels to it, and that's what people just gotta understand. It's like, yeah, he may have CPA, this certain person, whatever, but is he looking for a way to get you your money back? And he asks you certain questions, so that you gotta, like I said, you gotta talk, like I said, at least about 4 to 6 times every year, not just one time. All right, I'm gonna give you guys this. So here's one of my clients. She's actually here. She's one of my friends. We need to train together, place to work. She's a nurse, all that good stuff. She came to me. She was like, "Look, wise, man, I've been overpaying taxes at least 5,000 to 7,000 every year. I'm bringing all this value to society. What's going on?" So I ended up giving her a refund of 34,000, which was a difference of 39,000. So this is how this is. So she was eligible for 29 federally, but I got her back 26. And state-wise, she was eligible for 8, I got her back 7. Okay. So basically, as a strategist, we're gonna sit down and we're gonna recalibrate your mind. That's what a strategist is. We're gonna sit down, recalibrate your mind, and basically do a life audit. Because a lot of people, like I said, they don't know this stuff, got bad habits, and like I said, also educate you on the handbook. So for when it's time to write stuff off, you want to write off based on the section code 162A, ordinary necessary. You need to ask yourself, every time you feel a do or take a deduction, is it ordinary necessary for my business? All right. So here we are. So are you ready to unleash, all this financial potential that you have? So those numbers in box 2 and 17, they don't lie. It is what it is. Those are overpayments. A lot of people don't understand that. Those are overpayments. You actually eligible for that money. You can only get it back if you bring value to society. It's just that simple. All right, cool. And here's our services, all what we do. All right. So thank you all. I appreciate everything.
Any other questions? Your contact information.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. I can give it to you, but I said out loud. You can go to lifestrategies20.com. And also a simple Google search of my name and Thomas Wise. Everything pretty much comes. And someone on my team was going to get that.
And there was one recently question for you. How can individuals navigate the balance between risk-taking and financial security when it comes to striving for wealth?
I would say when it comes to risk taking, it depends on your appetite. How aggressive do you want to be? Do you want to just want to be like a regular person, just a regular citizen, or do you really want to bring value? So I like to work with people who want to bring value to society. Because when you're doing good, you're going to get rewarded for it. And a lot of us don't understand that's the benefits of it. So that's being in a relationship with the government. So it's something to think about. Stop trying to fight the government. Let me be in a relationship. This is the value that I want to bring. They'll allow you to avoid taxes. It's just that simple.
Well, give him another hand for his expertise. I definitely learned a lot, and I definitely need to get a strategist for my financial wealth.
I learned that my CPA works with IRS. Thank you.
I want to say, and Tommy is saying, I'm still. So that was all about accumulating wealth, and now we're going to go into the next tenet about safeguarding wealth. And for safeguarding wealth, we have Everett Jason Allen, who is a former basketball star turned financial guru who leverages his experience to empower clients for financial freedom. His resilient attitude, forged from a global basketball career cut short by injury, guides businesses and families towards security.
Specializing in aiding COVID-impacted businesses and educating families, he offers over 150 personalized programs for clients of all backgrounds. Beyond finance, Everett prioritizes family, managing 100 Magazine and co-owning a downtown Atlanta sports bar. As a husband and father of 3, his entrepreneurial spirit and community involvement shines. Success stems from Everett's exceptional networking skills, meticulous attention to detail, and unwavering optimism. Supported by Secure the Legacy LLC, he delivers excellent service, fostering long-term client relationships, and he is married to Danielle with 3 sons, and Everett balances family, business, and community impact. And I can attest to balances that because you're on a FaceTime call supporting your son. So welcome Everett to the stage.
Man, thank you. First of all, before we even get started, man, I gotta thank God for the opportunity to be able to sit here and talk culture with you, gentlemen today. I'm over safeguarding wealth. I believe that we're switching because Octavia is on her way. So we're gonna fast forward and get it to myself. All right, so man, safeguarding wealth. All right, we're gonna talk about some things today. I hope y'all ready. Are y'all ready?
Yes.
Okay. Because man, these boulders we getting ready to roll down the hill on you. You gotta be ready. You gotta be on your feet. Your head gotta be on the swivel. So we're gonna talk about 3 wealth secrets when it comes to safeguarding wealth. Right. For my business owners in here, we're gonna be talking about cost remediation and profit enhancement. Right, we're going to be talking about trimming the fat in the business and making sure that you always end up with profits. All right, the next thing we're going to be talking about is how to control your wealth by becoming your own bank. This is nothing new. This has been around for years, but now this information is starting to trickle back through our community so that we could get knowledge and we can do what has been done by our counterparts for years, all right? And then lastly, we're gonna be talking about something that is crucial in our community, and that is guaranteeing a retirement. Guaranteeing that what you do in your earning years, right, trickles down to those retiring years when, now, you done built it up, now you can just kind of sit back on the fruits of your labor. All right, so without further ado, we're gonna jump right into it. All right, now these statistics are in general, but the numbers are the numbers, right? If you look at business, and it doesn't matter what industry that you're in, we can know that, the 20% of business is gonna fail in the first 2 years of being open. All right, if we look at business over the first 5 years, 45% of business owners are not gonna make it. If we look at the scale over the 10-year period, 65% of businesses don't make it after 10 years. Right? That's staggering, right? So why? Why? The problem is that most business owners are focused on keeping the doors open. We got to do what we got to do to keep this thing rolling. We got clients coming in, like we don't have time to be looking at everything else. We got to keep the main thing, the main thing. And then, of course, business wouldn't be going out. They wouldn't be going out of business if they had the bread. I mean, this is the culture right here. So I can throw in little lingos. When I say bread, we're talking about money. Right? They're running out of money. We don't have the cash flow. Right? And the real problem is that there are many tax credits that most companies qualify for, but they're not taking advantage of them because either they don't know where they are, they don't know what they are, or they think it costs too much. They think it costs too much time, they think it costs too much money. And the worst problem you can have in your business is the one you don't know you have. Right? I mean, so the solution is what I do for my business clients with $0 spent, no risk to the clients. We identify these taxes incentives that you qualify for. And we look at overpaid expenses, and our team handles that. Our back office, we handle the paperwork, we handle the documents. Once we identify what those losses are, what those areas are of opportunity, that gap between where you are and where you want to be, we find that money for you, and then we split a portion of the gains with the business owners, right? So if I find $100,000 for you, are you going to be upset that I asked for 15 because I found 100,000 for you? I mean, talk to me, right? Okay.
We're gonna negotiate.
It's typically like 10 to 20% when you find money for people that's the standard. And if somebody doesn't, that's just part of business, 10 to 20% of any money that you find for a business.
Exactly.
Because I find money for businesses too, or bring investors, and I get 10 to 20%.
Exactly. Right. And so if somebody helps you, right, the least you can do is allow them to get paid. Right. I mean, that's like general. Okay, so how do we do it? I'm gonna talk about these services, right? And if this applies to your business, just kind of take notes so that we can talk afterwards. But the WOTC, WOTC, the Working Opportunity Tax Credit, and the ERC tax credit. These are tax credits for each W-2 employee that comes in your door that works for you. The WOTC is for all of your new hires, right? So how this works is when a new hire comes in, they do a survey, right? The survey gives them associates them with the tax credit that you would receive by hiring them, right? Now, this is not to screen people that, okay, I'm only gonna hire the people that pay me the most money. But if you got two candidates that are really close, then you can make that decision, right? All right, the ERC is for all of the employees that you kept during COVID. Right, in the year 2020, 2021, if your business took any kind of loss in any quarter and you kept those employees, you get a tax credit for that. All right, we're gonna kind of go a little faster. Cost segregation is if you have a commercial property and you've done renovation. Right, I was in a spot last night, what is it called, Aretha's at the top, and it used to be a car wash. So they switched that whole building up, they did renovations on it, and now it's a restaurant, right? But that cost that it takes to get that business from what it was when you first got the building to what it is now, there's a cost segregation tax credit that you can get. Commercial property tax, this is when we scrub your business and make sure that you're not overpaying for tax credits when it comes to your property. Credit card processing, this is huge because we look at most business owners. How did you get that POS? Right, you got a recommendation. You came into business. You talked to a friend. You said, "Hey man, who you use?" They gave you a recommendation. I'm using them, so that's who you use, right? But you didn't scrub the entire industry to make sure that that's really the best for your business from a cost perspective. And then we look at waste and recycling. We look at workers' compensation, basically like insurance on the employees that you have, and then this is huge, research and development, right? A lot of business owners don't know if you make a product or you modify it, if you get something and turn it into something else, there's a tax credit associated with it. Research and development tax credit. Right? Say that one more time.
Give an example on that. You said-
Yeah, so, okay, if I have a bakery, right, and we make bread, there's a research and development tax credit associated with that. Right, if I got a software tech company, right, and I take something, I modify it and make it something else, there's a tax credit associated to that. So anytime you make something from original, or you take something else, and you make it like this wine that we got here on the table after we're done, we're gonna be sipping wine, right? But it was made, it was custom made, so tax credit associated with that. All right, so all we're saying is that, man, this is a huge tax credit. Most businesses, have their head down, really know what we're talking about. And so we're saving the money and everybody's happy. All right, and I got a software that, if you want to write this down, you can come to my site. And if you're a business owner, all you have to do is put in your information and it takes you right to letting you know in 60 seconds how much we can save you. All right, so this is proprietary software. that we have, and it tells my clients in 60 seconds. I can sit down with them, I ask them a few questions, those same questions I was just talking about. It tells them, hey, we might be able to get you $150,000. All right, 60 seconds. All right, so that's number one. How am I doing so far?
Okay.
Okay. I just want to make sure y'all still with me there. Look, man, I'm up here, man, trying not to sweat.
Okay.
The 3 Ps, get busy. All right. So now let's go to number 2. All right. How to control wealth by creating your own private bank. Now, the first thing we want to talk about, man, is that first of all, it's only 4 things that you can be getting money with, right? Either you got a job and you get paid for working your job, either you got a business and you get paid for the profits of the business, you get a pension, maybe you retired, or maybe you got lucky. Maybe you got lucky. Maybe you got an inheritance, right? Maybe somebody blessed you with the bag. All right, so those are 4 ways you get money. Now, there's 4 ways to use the money. All right, either we're gonna save it, we're going to invest it, we're going to spend it, or we're going to give it away. All right? Those are 4 things that we can do with the money. All right? So it's 4 ways to get it, and there's 4 ways to spend it. But all we're saying is before you do any of those 4 things, you put it in your own bank, your own private bank that you can control. Right? Why? Because we got benefits. Right? What we want to do is, I got a vest on right now, but I joked with my clients and said, we're going to put a bulletproof vest around your money. All right, so we get to experience compound interest. Compound interest is interest over the entire amount of the amount that you're saving, right? We get guaranteed dividends that we're gonna get every single year, right? Every year you participate, you're gonna get dividends, right? Dividends are, because the companies that we use are mutually owned, and you are an owner of your own bank, you get to share in the gains of the bank. It's tax-free. Watts was just talking about all the advantages of, going with the nonprofit and things of that nature, but this is tax-free, right? It's protected by a death benefit. The death benefit is actually the asset, right? So in our bank accounts right now, if you pass away, you know that there's a process before your family gets the money in your bank account. Normally they got to go through probate, right? If their name is not on the account. But this bag is associated to your life or someone in the business's life, right? It's private, right? That means that you can't be sued for it. Once you put it in here, it can't be touched by the IRS and you can't be sued for it. You control it. You decide how much money I want to have in my bank, how much money I want to be able to dump in there at any one time or any time during the year. And the icing on the cake for me is that is 0 market volatility. That means that you cannot lose. That means there's absolutely no way that you can lose. You leverage money. So leveraging the money would be like, okay, you like to make money on the front end and the back end? Like, would you like to have $1 in motion in 2 places at one time?
Yes.
Like, that's how I like my money. You know what I'm saying? If I give my money to you, I'm getting money over here, even if I give my money to you. All right, and then opportunity, because when you have cash flow, you got opportunity. All right, so why haven't I heard of this? But you heard them. You heard of Walt Disney. You didn't know that he used a private bank to start that company. You heard of Doris Christie. You heard of Ray Kroc. I mean, we passed $15, $20 on the way home. Most people don't know that he started his business with his own private bank, or Warren Buffett. The list goes on and on. I'll be honest. Once I got the knowledge that every single bank has this set up, and then I started to put it together in my head, I'm saying, okay, why when I go to the bank and I come and get a $15,000, $20,000 out of my bank, why the money never there? Like, why do I have to come back and get an appointment to come get my money? Okay, then I put it together. I was like, hold on. Why is it suckers all over the bank? In every bank we go into, why is it suckers? Okay. All right. So, I'm just saying it hit me. Okay. It hit me. All right. So, because I'm 42 years old and I kind of grew up in the hip hop community. You know, Wayne got a line to say, "It ain't tripping if you got it." Right? You heard the song, "It ain't tripping if you got it." You know what I'm saying? Everybody want to spin. Right? But what makes more sense? I got $20,000 in the bank and I want to go buy a new car. So I go buy a new car and I pull it out of my bank account. What did I do to my bank account? I depleted it. Right? I'm no longer gaining interest off of that dollar. Right? I forfeited. Well, I can put this into my bank and then I can borrow from my bank and get that car. What does that look like in 5 years? Well, if I'm getting 4% interest off of this and 5 years, it makes me, $4,000 and, $333. And then I, pay myself back, doing that same thing I was gonna do with the car can gain me $1,600 just doing the same thing I was gonna do. All I did was I put it into my bank first and I paid myself back like I'm paying the car note. So I pulled my money out of my account and then I started putting it back slowly. All right. So not only can it be used as a saving mechanism, but this can also be used to get out of debt. And I want to show you a case study of Renee and Anthony. Now, this is a couple, maybe, Renee and Anthony, I don't know. But they're both around the same age, about 38, 36. They're making around the same amount of money, $3,900 versus 31. They both want to retire 65 with about $5,000 worth of income, but they don't have a plan yet. They got 3 kids, and you can see kind of what their concerns were. I think we all got these concerns, man. We want to eliminate debt. We want to control the spending. We want to save for retirement. We want to set up wills and trusts. We want to maximize saving and provide for the kids' education. Is that everybody in the room? Pretty much, right? Okay, so when we look at what we call an inefficient dollar, I want y'all to hold on to that word, inefficient, right? So what I do for my clients is I look at the difference between their minimum payment and their actual payment, right? Because that minimum payment, that's what they are required to pay back. The actual payment is what we all do is like, man, okay, I got a little bit more. I'm gonna try to put $50 over here. All right, I got a little bit more. Let me go ahead and knock this down. I got $100. I'm gonna try to knock down this debt, right? But if we're just using our bank account, we're doing the same thing I was saying in a few slides ago, where we're using funds from an account that it depletes, right? We're not maximizing on that money, right? So I take all of the inefficient dollars from my clients and I come up with this number. So now I switch them to just pay the minimum payments, and now out of their private bank, now we create a debt elimination cycle for them, right? So this is what they would be doing if they didn't, take our help at all. You can see that you got 36,000 in the current savings. They're doing $300 in 401k, 5% interest rate there, and 25% tax bracket. Right. So let's talk about this a little bit. Like the government always needs a check, right? So if we save this for retirement, right, and the government needs their check, you losing $100,000 off the rate, right? Just for saving that way with the 401k. And so all I do for my clients is I give you an opportunity. You can stay with your current plan, or you can come over here with this debt-free life. And we can eliminate the debts for you, and you retire with a little bit more money. So this, for them, was about a $700,000 difference for doing the same thing that they were going to do anyway, right? And so what kind of opportunity is this for you? If you were doing the same thing that we talked about on these slides, like what can this do for you? Would you like to retire with $700,000 more? Okay. All right. So what's my next steps? Well, it's a private bank, right? We got some health concerns. We ask the health questions. We ask the income questions. For my clients, I'm saying, okay, well, how much do you want to put in your bank on a yearly basis? All right. Who's going to be the beneficiaries if you get called home early? Right? Who do you want to jump off of your shoulders and not your feet? And then we get a start date, right? All right. So that's number 2. How am I doing so far? Are y'all still with me? I can't tap dance. I'm being real with y'all, man, because I'm doing the best I can. Okay, question. Well, it's both. So this is the product that's used in the trust, but it can be used for a lot of different purposes. And so when you say trust, first of all, trust is when first you need an attorney to set up a trust. You need a legal document that assigns all of your things that you own to something, right? So the trust is gonna be long, and everything that you have in possession is tied to somebody, like this watch right here. They say, okay, I want my son to have this watch, I want my other son to have these shoes. And so this is what goes into the trust, right? So this is a mechanism that goes into the trust. Now, before we move on, I just want to say that in a business, if you have partners, you would do something like this on each key member, right? Each member that you have in your executive staff, you guys should have life insurance policies on each other, right? Because if one person leaves and goes to upstate or something, if they don't make it home, right? We got to figure out, we need that money so that we can, either pay off the person's family, right? But we also need that money because we got to recreate that position where we got to kind of facilitate things a little different, right? So that's where this money comes from. Now, if none of that happens, this same life insurance policy that we're talking about, what I just described to you is a life insurance policy, but it's structured in a way that 80% of what we put in there goes to our bank and 20% goes to the actual policy. When you get a regular whole life policy, normally it's structured about 60-70% goes to the insurance, 30% goes to the cash value, but we're able to flip it. Right?
I was gonna ask, what type of life insurance policy you would get?
Yes. So it's called a participating whole life policy. Participating whole life policy, especially designed. So with my clients, we just ask a few questions. First of all, you're gonna need a whole life policy, but I start that policy very, very low, and then I attach it with a term policy. The term policy is needed because on paper, it needs to look like a big policy for us to be able to dump a lot of cash in, right? So you got the whole life, you have the term rider that falls off in about 7 to 10 years, and then the bank is actually called the PUA, paid up additions. That's the life insurance word for bank. All right?
Is that connected to the stock market or?
No.
So my understanding with those type of policies, like, that you have to pay into them like 3 or 5 years before you get access to the bank, to the funds, right? That's what I
30
had
days.
heard before.
30 days.
30 days.
30 days. So I can essentially dump a lump sum in there and take it right back out and put my money in two places like I was talking to you about, you know what I mean? So I can put it in there, take it right back out and put it right back in. I can do this over and over and over and over. All right, last piece before I turn it over to our next guest, man. I appreciate y'all for allowing me to, go through this presentation. We want to talk about guaranteed income with the power of the index. Now, are you familiar? Anybody, raise your hand if you're familiar with the index. Okay, market index. Index, yeah, market index. Okay. All right, so an index is a way for you to be able to participate in the gains of the market without the downside risk. Okay, and I set up guaranteed income for clients because we only get one chance for retirement. It's not something that any of us can afford to make mistakes on, right? Because if it's not done properly, we can end up depressed, we can end up with regret, and the last thing we want to do is be old and broke. Sorry, it's the last thing we want to do. All right, now, here's the problem. The problem is that most of the people in our community only know one thing, and that's 401k. That's all we know. Because my daddy had a 401k, my mama had a 401k, my grandmama had a 401k, my great grandmama had a, my uncle got 401k, everybody got 401k. But I have not seen anybody ride off into the sunset on a white horse on a 401k. I don't know if y'all have. Right? Okay, so the problem is that there's market risk. Let's just start there. How about we save up all this money in our 401k for retirement, and then the market takes a hit like it did in 2008, or when we were going through COVID, right? What happens to our 401k if we're taking distribution and then we get that hit? And then we were supposed to be living off of, 150,000 and it turns into 70. All right, we got inflation, right? Wise talked about that earlier. Man, eggs like $12 now. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to renovate my basement. In the wood that went through the roof. You know what I'm saying? It costs anything. Look, it's costing a little bit more to live than it used to.
What did you call that again? PUA? That's the.
Paying condition. All right, so 401k, market risk, we got inflation, and we're living a little bit longer because of my medicine. They're keeping us a lot longer, but we're sicker. All right. Let's see here. Go to the next slide.
Roth IRAs and 401ks. They're different.
A Roth IRA is tax, a 401k is tax deferred. Tax deferred means they won't get the money at the end. Now, this is something that most people are not aware of, and that's the 4% rule, right? Have you heard of the 4% rule? All right, so the 4% rule is when we save for retirement and we do get the whole bag, right? In order for this money to last, they recommend that in order for it to last, you use 4%. So imagine making a salary that you're making and then you go into retirement and then saying, okay, well, in order for this to last, you gotta live off 4% of that. Every year, that's what you pay yourself. Right, so that could be a difference of you got 150,000 saved for retirement, 200,000, and then they tell you, okay, well, how about you take 15,000 per year for the rest of your life? Right, that's what most people are doing. Right, they use that with Social Security, and that's the retirement. All right. Now, I hope I got the light bulbs going. Right, I just got this little light bulb right here. Y'all look at it, and it's supposed to do something to you. It's supposed to do something inside you. All right, so a single premium index deferred annuity is pretty much just a long-term retirement savings product, right? What are the gains? What do you gain? Gains are that we put you in a program that allows you to grow. You got that growth potential, and that you can qualify for lifetime income. Right? When you switch, you get one of these products. Keep it in there for 7 to 10 years or longer, you qualify for the lifetime income, right? So this means when you have this product here, if you start taking distribution, they have to pay you for the rest of your life, even if the account runs past zero. I'm gonna say that again. When 401k, at the end of the 401k, if the money's gone, it's gone, right?
Yeah.
But if we put it here first, and we leave it in here for 7 to 10 years, then we start taking distribution. When we do start taking that money out, they have to pay us for the rest of our lives.
When you put it where?
In the index annuity.
Oh, the index, okay, that's another product.
Yeah, we don't went to, hold on, let me go
Okay,
back to the
yeah,
slide.
right.
You know what I'm saying? We done switched gears, you know what I'm saying? I told you at the beginning, we got 3 steps.
This is different from premium finance. Index annuity, and you're paying for that to get the lifetime income.
Yeah, for most of my clients, we'll take a portion of their 401 and we'll put it in here so that they don't pay anything. We're just taking what is already built up in their job and then we'll put it in here and that's it.
And paying us about 7 years.
Well, you don't pay into it. It's just a roll. We're rolling like a piece of the 401 into this, or we can do a lump sum of like.
Is that the only way you can get money into the index annuity is from the 401k?
No, you can do cold cash too.
Could you go back to the first slide?
Yeah, okay. You want to take a picture?
Single, yeah.
Yeah, so single premium means that just that one time is the only time we pay, and we would either use the money that's in our cash reserve, or we're gonna use money from our 401 or our old 401 from another job. Okay? Alright, so we're almost there. Thank you guys. Alright, so, lastly, we got one, was too far. Alright, so flexibility, if the unexpected occurs, this is after the first year you start this, if you run into a financial situation, you can pull from it without any penalties. Alright, so it's not we're putting this money in here, we're gonna lock it up, and you never get access to it again. Well, you get access to it. And then number 4 is that you're gonna leave a legacy
You saying you can get access to the index annuity money?
after the first year, is right, without any penalties. That's the flexibility. Alright, and so, man, last but not least, we're gonna leave a legacy, and that's the name of my company, Secure Legacy, and that's it for me. So you've just been exposed to the 3 best wealth protection secrets that can save your business, leverage your money, and protect your family. So again, I'm Henry Jason Down, and I appreciate the opportunity to be able to share this with y'all. I hope y'all enjoy it.
Are there any final questions for Everett?
What's a health base? Like, do you have to go through,
For which,
for the, index? That's a good question.
no,
That's a very good question, yeah. So it's not based, so if somebody's sick or anything and they start this, it doesn't matter.
correct. You do have to qualify for those financial things.
That's a good question.
What's the minimum on
10,000 for that one. So there's different types.
10,000 to start the index annuity?
Yes,
That 401k and.
that's right.
Just taking money that you already have, you're just allocating it over there. Okay.
In that case, I'm sorry. In that case, the lady mentioned, or asking questions regarding source of funds, the 401k transfer over. There's no tax implications about withdrawal from the 401k.
No.
Move to a
That's right, because with index, you still, it's tax deferred, and so you would really be switching it from the same vehicle, same type of vehicle to the next, so there's no tax that you have to pay for moving money.
Right, and I'm not gonna question further, but I know that there are tax implications that early withdrawals based upon age and other factors. Now, if we move to a vehicle that does not have the restrictions.
Correct, correct. So we're not withdrawing it for you to get that early withdrawal tax, but we're moving it from one tax deferred vehicle to the other. You understand? So with a 401k, we're really just talking about, okay, we have this money and it's building up, but it's at risk, right? It's kind of like going to sleep with the door unlocked at the house, like somebody, we could take a hit, the next president could come in or whoever's come in, they say something crazy, the market takes a turn and that's our retirement. Now we have to wait until it performs again to get back up to what was lost, right? So if I lose 50,000 and I make 50,000 the next year, like, did I really win or did I break even, right? Okay, so with an annuity, right, an index annuity, those gains are locked in every year or every 2 years. And so once you do take a hit, the floor is 0, right? So if the market goes down, your money stays flat. When it goes back up, you go back up with the ship.
Oh, you don't lose?
You don't lose, you can't lose.
What's the basis for it? So that's initial connected to the stock market. It sounds really good. I'm not challenging, I'm just trying to understand what is the index, what is that?
Which basis?
Yeah, so it can be based off of a few. So first of all, the index means that your money is not in the stock market, but you get paid on what the stock market does. So for example, if I have your money in the S&P and the S&P goes to 30%, right? Your ceiling would be most likely 15% of this. So you don't get all the gains. But if that same S&P that next year takes a minus 30% hit, you stop at 0. So your money, your principal stays still when the market is lost, right? So it's like a mirror to the market. Does that make sense? When it goes up, you go up. It's kind of, okay, think about your money walking up the stairs, right? When it goes up, you go up. When the market goes down, you stay flat, you stay still. That next year when it goes back up, you're gonna right back up with it. All right, you got a question? Ma'am?
I was gonna ask, a little bit more detail what he was saying on the tax implication. If you're actually withdrawing money, or are you borrowing money against removing?
Neither one. So we're not borrowing and we're not withdrawing, but we are transferring.
No, not when you started.
Okay.
So if you have it, annuity set up, and you want to make a withdrawal, is that a tax deferred withdrawal? Is there a time frame, or is there a tax implication when you make a withdrawal
Okay,
against?
great question. So, anytime you have a tax deferred vehicle, if you are under the age of 59 and a half, there's an early withdrawal period, right? But with an annuity, there can be surrender fees and things like that if you do it. And so if you're under the age of 59 and a half, they don't charge you the surrender fee. So you still have to pay the early withdrawal fee if you're 59, under 59 and a half.
Mhm.
But if you're over 59 and a half, you don't have to worry about that.
Okay,
But, and I don't know if it's your particular product or the ones that I'm familiar with, but as far as taking money out, there are limits to how much you can take out per year.
And that's
And
10%.
so I think that that's what people are asking, but I think I'm hearing people ask is like, how do I get to my money? So that 10% you can take out. But one thing that this is not my show, but what I will say is, because I try to advise young people, don't look at this as the money that you need to get to take that trip to go to so-and-so. Let this be the long-term thing,
Yeah,
so that you're not even thinking about, can I get to my money?
exactly.
Because it's gonna be there. And what this is gonna do is it's gonna hedge you against volatility.
Yes.
So you're not gonna get the 30% when S&P is producing that. But what you're not gonna do is you're gonna lose. So, you're not gonna get as much. That's why it's called guaranteed. Nobody's gonna give you everything without risk. So,
Exactly, and you said it correctly. And so when I am helping clients, we're having a conversation like, listen, this is our rainy day fund that we're having. This is not something that we're gonna dip in and out, because the private bank is what you would use for that, if that's what we wanna do. If we wanna take money in and out, play around with number two, but this is the long term. This is like the nest egg for our retirement. Okay. So, man, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Everett, for sharing your expertise. How have you enjoyed it so far?
It's a lot of great information.
Yes, and thank you to the ladies. Oh, and one is passing by as I'm introducing the Phenomenal Hues Global Network, Donetta Wells, and Ashley Scott for putting this program on together. And really quickly, we'll take a 10-minute break so you can stretch, get some food and drink, and then we'll come back in 10 minutes.
We got another picture.
We have our tape behind next.
So we just bring our food here and eat all
Yeah,
that.
Vanessa, you invite them in there to take something to eat? Okay.
It's cleaned up and ready to go.
So it's some food in here. We got some grits and hash. We got, I'm just playing. Come over here and get some sleep.
might be easier to explain.
Good job there. Ain't talking about it. Like you when I go to a fight, you know what I'm saying? You can grab me. Let's get something to grab something.
Oh, no, yeah, let's take a 10-minute break. And then we'll start at,
so maybe even more.
oh,
Like, you know, like it's different.
Oh, no, no, no.
Oh, no, this is it, this is the name. They got the line going, let me. Give me some water. Great information.
Yeah, big introduction on the spot.
No, well, kinda.
I mean, they got a question for you.
Because it was like, oh, great. Okay. Hey. No, we had, we were in the room when you guys were driving out. Where's your name? Hey. Yeah, Nina didn't get a chance to make it.
Oh, good. I'm gonna check on the truck. Let me cook a string. I'm gonna sort it back up. All right, who's it up? It's not working now.
expansion blueprint. So far we've learned about accumulating wealth, and then we've also learned about safeguarding wealth. And so now it is time to learn about managing wealth. And I'm so excited to bring up the next guest because I've known her, we've been trying to figure out for how long we've known each other, but she is so great in what she does. Next up, we have Octavia Connor, with over 20 years of experiences guiding businesses and entrepreneurs towards financial clarity and growth. Through Say Yes to the Profits, she offers comprehensive CFO services like strategic planning, bookkeeping, tax management, and financial consulting. This empowers service professionals to build the profitable business they desire, ready to break free from financial struggles. Ms. Connor's proven track record speaks for itself. Over 90% of her clients achieve significant growth, and get this, it's a 30% to 350% growth within a year on average. I know, right? Say that again. Driven by her own journey of overcoming financial challenges, Ms. Connor is passionate about helping businesses thrive. So welcome to the stage, Ms. Octavia Connor.
Thank you so much for that great introduction. Okay, so I have a question. By a show of hands, how many of you could use an extra $15,000 right now? Yes. The reason why I asked this question is because it is said that the average small business owner overpay in taxes between $11,000 and $15,000. And so what could you do with an extra $11,000 or $15,000? I bet you could think of a lot of things, right, instead of cutting the check to the IRS. And so what I want to discuss with you today is how to actually pay the smallest legal amount possible in taxes. Is that okay? Yes, yes? Yeah.
Okay, so I'm interactive. I'm a God's girl. I be in church all the time, so I'm gonna talk to y'all, and y'all gotta talk to me, okay? Yes, yes?
Yes, yes.
All right, so I am Octavia Connor. I am the #1 virtual CFO, and my focus is helping businesses say yes to profits, build generational wealth, and pay the smallest legal amount possible in taxes. So I want to discuss exactly how to do that. And what I'm going to do is give you a couple of strategies with the time that I have. But the very first thing I want to talk about is the difference between an LLC, an S Corp, and a C Corp, or an LLC and corporations. So how many of you started your business or are forming a business as an LLC? Any LLCs? Any sole proprietors? Any S Corps or C Corps? Okay. Got it. Okay. So a lot of businesses start as an LLC, which is a limited liability company. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But I often tell small business owners and my clients that at some point you may want to think about shifting to a corporation. Right? So as a corporation, you're able to get more tax deductions, more tax write-offs and tax credits that you cannot get as an LLC. The #1 corporation that I like, depending on how your business is set up, is an S corporation. So as an S corporation, you are not taxed on the business profit. So taxes are not levied on the profit that you generate for your business. So I want to do a little math with you all. So let's say that you are a single member LLC. From the federal level, you're considered a disregarded entity. As a single member, I see you shaking your head. So you're considered a disregarded entity from the federal level as an LLC, right? And so you are actually taxed twice when you think about it and you do the math.
So no matter what you generate in a profit, you have something called self-employment taxes, which is 15.3%. I see others are shaking their heads. And then you have income taxes that you have to pay on the profit that you generate in your business. So anybody have a calculator to do a little bit of math? You say yes or no? Okay, so let's say that you generate a net profit, which is the number at the bottom of your profit and loss statement, $40,000. So I want you to take $40,000 and multiply that by 15.3%. That is self-employment taxes. What's that number?
6120.
6120. Now take that same $40,000 and multiply that by 30%.
Just here, 30%.
30%.
12,000.
Now add those two numbers together.
6120.
6120 or $6,000 and $12,000.
So 18,000.
So that's on average what you would pay if you generated a net profit of $40,000 in taxes. Now let's think about it as an S corporation. As an S corporation, when you shift to that, one of the things you need to do is you need to become an employee of the company. When you become an employee of the company, you need to pay yourself a reasonable market-based salary according to the IRS, right? And so a reasonable market-based salary could be $40,000, $50,000. So now you take that $40,000 and you turn it into your salary as the owner of the company, and now you have a tax write-off for your salary. And now you do not pay that 15.3% in self-employment taxes. Does this make sense?
Yes.
So when you're thinking about the business you should form, is nothing wrong, again, with being an LLC. But as your company scale, and we're in business to generate a profit, and we're in business to grow, is that right? Yes? Okay. So as your company grows, you want to think about shifting to an S corporation. If you are a business that you want investors in your company, then you may want to think about being a C corporation. Is this clear? Yes? So what I want to talk to you now about is some of the tax strategies and tax write-offs and credits that you can receive as an S corporation that you may not be able to take advantage of as an LLC. Is that okay? So I have a couple of them that I'm going to go through. The first I want to talk about is an SEP-IRA, a SEP IRA. Anybody familiar with that? Okay. Anybody have a SEP right now? No? All right. So as a corporation, you can have a SEP IRA. And the benefit of this, and one of the things that is so amazing about it, is that if you are an employee of your company and the company has the retirement, you can contribute to the retirement, a SEP and a 401k. And I think y'all talked about a 401k earlier, so I won't deep dive into that. But as an employee, you can contribute to that, and the employer, your company, can contribute to that same retirement plan. I had a client, yes, that just, I don't know who said whom, but yes. So I had a client that just did this, and literally she contributed, her company contributed, we maxed it out, and she was able to contribute up to $60,000 combined to, yes ma'am, to this retirement account.
In 1 year.
In 1 year. Because here's the thing, the employee contributes and the employer can contribute to that same retirement account. So now instead of you cutting a check to the IRS, you can take that money and you can reinvest it back into your business and you can receive a tax deduction. Is this clear?
This is applicable if your company is an S corp?
Yes.
Only.
If you are a corporation.
Or S corp.
S corp, C corp, yes ma'am. Is this clear? Okay, we're gonna continue. Since y'all already talked about 401k, I won't talk about that, but have anyone heard of section 179? Yes? Okay, so section 179 allows you to deduct heavy equipment for your business. You may have heard of purchasing a car in your business name or purchasing a company vehicle, right? That is under section 179. Yes, ma'am, not all of it. But you can write a big portion of it off. Now, you can write 80% of it off if you use something called bonus depreciation. But let's say you don't do the 80%, you just want to write something off. If you purchase a vehicle for your business, then if it's between 6,000 and 14,000 pounds, you absolutely can write it off. But it gets better than that. Not only can that be a tax deduction, but if the vehicle is under your business EIN and things like that, all of the repairs you can take for your business. The upkeep of the vehicle you can take for your business. So those become tax deductions as well. Now, if the vehicle is used for personal and business, you can only take mileage. You cannot take repairs. Is that clear? Okay. Any questions about that? So, yes, ma'am.
So if you initially purchased it for personal and you use it for business, then you now.
So,
You benefit from that.
so are you still using it for personal and, I think I was supposed to hold questions last time.
You are, but it's okay.
It's okay. So are you still using it for personal and business? So if you're using it for both, according to the IRS rules, you have to do the mileage. But if you're just using it for your business, you can do repairs and everything related to the upkeep of the vehicle. And it has to be between 6,000 and 14,000 pounds. Did I answer your question? Okay.
Is that just SUVs or is that what we're calling that category?
As long as it's between 6,000 and 14,000 pounds. And actually, on my Instagram page, I have a list of the vehicles that fall within that range. But let me tell you, SUVs are good, right? The Range Rovers, depending on the type. I have an Armada. I don't need that big. Well, I have a lot of kids, but I'm gonna say I don't need that big truck. But I have it for my business, and it's a tax write-off for the company. And like I said, if you are able to use something called bonus depreciation, you can write off up to 80% as of this year. Now that amount has changed over the years, but you can write off 80% of that. And so if you owe and you do tax planning and tax strategy, you can go get a vehicle and now you may not owe. So the problem with a lot of small business owners is that they don't use the tax code rules and regulations to their advantage. Has anyone ever heard of Amazon and Netflix?
Never.
Never? Why am I asking you about Amazon and Netflix? Why am I asking you about them? Because they don't pay taxes. So it's going around. It has been going around for several years now. Google it. Yes, ma'am. They earn billions with a B. Billions. We are earning thousands and millions. And I have clients that come to us, 7 figures earned the previous year in a 6-figure tax bill. Why?
I'm offended.
I was offended too. And so I started to learn the rules and regulations and teach my clients, because if they can do it, we can do it as well. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Let me keep talking. I got more. Does anyone think about life insurance? Life insurance. This is important, right? Don't you think about life insurance? You can have something called key person life insurance and use it as a tax write-off. What is key person life insurance? This is when your business has insurance on you because you're the key person of the company. And if anything happens, the business will receive money for you. And so then the business can take that money and keep operating. It can take that money and close down. It can take that money and do whatever it needs to do. But guess what? Now that's a policy on you that your business is paying the premium for, and it's a tax deduction each and every year for each and every premium that you pay.
So it's like a gap. It's not like a gap insurance.
It's not like a gap.
I know this is associated with cars, but
Right.
it just kind of, it seems like it operates in a similar fashion.
It does operate in a similar fashion. The only difference is that the business has to be the beneficiary of the policy. It can't be, anybody else. It has to be the business.
And like SBA or a lot of commercial loans, they require you to have that policy before they fund
They
you.
sure do.
Yeah.
Yep. So why not get the tax deduction? Okay. All right. Y'all ready to continue?
All right.
Are there any parents in here? Yes, 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 yes. Okay. I'm a mother of 4. Y'all like, I'm a grandmama now, so I'm still getting used to that. But I am a mother of 4. I put her on the spot every time. Now you raise your hand. That's my child. Here's the thing. You can hire your kids this year, pay them up to $14,600, and you can use that as a tax deduction. But I'm not done. You can take their salary. I have a 10-year-old. I am not giving her $14,600. It's just right. She will be at the candy store every day, all day, high on candy. There's no way. And so I can take the amount up to $14,600 and invest it into a custodial IRA account or a 529 account for her. And so now my business is benefiting now as a tax deduction. I am teaching her how to be an entrepreneur. Like, she started a bracelet business and she just come home every day. Mama, I earn $10 a day, $20 a day, $30 a day. I'm like, how these elementary kids have all this money? But she's doing it. So I'm teaching her entrepreneurship. I'm building an IRA and a 529 college account for her, and my business is using it as a tax deduction. Wow. My daughter's been working with me since she was 13. My son is 23 now. 23. He's been working with me since he was about 15 years old. And every year I am able to write it off. Does this make sense?
The one parameter, so, and your corporation is established how? You're
I'm an escort.
Escort, okay, just one.
Yeah, so I'm an escort. So is that clear?
How does that work if you're commission based? So with real estate, my son's working for me, both of them. How does that work?
In your business form?
Yeah.
Okay. You can hire your son to do, I don't know, look up the properties. Social media. Right. You can hire my daughter. Yeah, my daughter does bookkeeping. My daughter does our TikTok is just off the chain. We have like funny TikToks as an accountant. That's all her. So here's what I tell everyone. Think about what you can hire someone else to do and see if your child can do that. I can hire someone to clean my office building, but why? I have a 10-year-old and a 16-year-old. Y'all better go with your broom. Why? So think about something that anybody else could do for you and see if your child can do it. Now, years ago, it went around that Jay-Z hired Blue Ivory when she was a baby. There's a song, I did this a couple of days ago, and the lady told me the song and I forgot. But there's a song where you hear her cooing or doing something as a baby. He used that as a tax write-off. So I always get, well, what age? Here's what I say, because according to the IRS, I have not seen, as of yet, a required age. And so I always say, if I can give you instructions and you go forward and you're my bookkeeper, I have to be able to say the same thing to her and she go forward and no additional information. So those are the things you want to think about. But if you have a child, put them to work today, take that money and build their future with it. Does this make sense? I'm still going. All right. So the next thing I want to talk to you all about are fringe benefits. So as an S corporation, fringe benefits are benefits that you can give your employees. But it's so good. If you are an employee of the company, and let's say you have small kids, you can actually pay for the daycare center for your kids under your fringe benefit policy. Now, if you have other employees, you have to have the same policy for them. But what I have some of my S corporation clients do is that they'll have contractors. They will be the only employee under their company. And so now they have a membership at Planet Fitness and all these other places. They're paying for the daycare for their kids, and it's all under their business, under their fringe benefit policy, and they're using it as a tax deduction. I feel like you got a lot of questions. Tell me, what's on your
just that one is kind of, so put the what's it? Planet Fitness or LA Fitness,
So what you do, so I have a client right now in North Carolina, and she's the only employee. Under her fringe benefits, the way we set the policy up is health benefits for her company. And so she bought a Peloton. She has a health membership to some fitness club, but she's the only employee. And now it's a tax deduction as well. But it has to be under your policy, and if you bring anyone else on as your employees, you have to offer them the same exact thing. You can't, not give them what you're receiving as the employee. Does that make sense? Yes. Yes. Any questions so far? Any questions? All right, let's continue. So when you get closer to the end of the year, a lot of times you're at this point in your business where you've made too much money. And you're like, I don't want to make any more money this year, but someone's going to pay you. There's something called income deferred, where you can defer that income to the next year and not have to pay taxes on that money for that current year. So you get to the end of the year and you're like, okay, I've done everything I know to do to reduce my taxes to the smallest amount possible. You want to talk to your tax accountant about deferring your income. Okay? All right? All right.
I have a question about with working with a lot of entrepreneurs where they're writing off so many things and it shows they don't have income and they're not able to qualify for things.
Yeah, that's really good. Thank you for that question. So it's gonna depend on where you are and what you need for your business. This is why it's so important to do tax planning and tax strategy. Unfortunately, a lot of business owners wait until the end of the year to think about planning for their taxes, to think about some type of strategy. What you need to do is do that at the beginning of the year and let your tax person know what your plans are. Because if your plans is to qualify for a home, like I have a client right now, she needs to qualify for a business, a building for her business, right?
Yes.
And so because she needs to qualify for that, we're not trying to pay the smallest legal amount possible in taxes because I need her to show a net profit. But because she's an S corp and her salary is $100,000 plus because of her business, she's still going to qualify. But she wants the building under the business name.
So what are the things if you have to show the income because of what you're doing? Like how do you get around like that big tax bill? It's no way. You gotta pay. Your taxable income. You gotta pay whatever income you're showing. You gotta pay taxes.
Right. This is why I say the smallest legal amount possible in taxes, right? Because depending on where you're going and what you're doing, again, you may have a tax bill, right?
Yeah.
Here's the thing: the IRS, they're going to get their money somehow, some way.
Yeah.
There are things that we can do, but if you're trying to buy a home or something like that, and you're an LLC, you're gonna pay taxes. You have to show. Yeah, but if you are an S corp and you're trying to buy a house, your business could very well break even as long as you're paying yourself a reasonable market-based salary as a W-2 employee of the company. That's gonna show on your personal return. Because when you are an S corp, the S corp has its return, and then you have your own return. And you are a W-2 employee, so you're getting a check from your business. So now you can qualify based on that, depending on your personal tax return, but your business can maybe break even or take a loss if you paid yourself $100,000. One of my clients from Charlotte, she was able to pay herself $100,000 each year, right? We made the business break even. She qualified for her home. And there's a video on my website where she talked about it more, but she qualified for her home, but the business broke even. But she was paying herself over $120,000 in an annual taxes an annual employee of the company. So she was receiving a W-2 from her business. But again, that was on her personal side. But then the client that right now wants to buy a building, she wants to buy a building in her business name. We have to do things totally different for her business to show profit and be profitable and for her to be balance sheet healthy. A lot of business owners, this outside of the presentation, but I'm gonna give it because it came up. A lot of business owners only focus on their profit and loss statement, the income, the revenue, the expenses, the net profit and loss. They don't focus on the balance sheet as well, which is also a very important financial statement. Because you have your assets, what you own, your liabilities, what you owe, and the equity, which is the worth of the company. When you go apply for a loan or anything like that, they're not just gonna pay attention to your income statement, they're looking at your balance sheet. They're trying to see if your balance sheet healthy or if you're operating your business upside down because you have more in liabilities and debt than you do in assets.
Balance sheet and P&L.
Balance sheet and profit and loss statement, yes ma'am. Questions, comments? All right, well, I am Octavia Connor. I'm the #1 virtual CFO you need in your life if you're ready to say yes to profits in business.
Thank you.
I knew she was gonna bring the fire. So if you're like me and you've seen the 3 dynamic speakers we've had so far, and you're like, okay, who should I go to? You're in luck because the Phenomenal Hues Global Network put together a program where you can have ebooks, coaching, community services, a free discount on ad services, free business promotions across multiple platforms, and professional service discounts. Now tell me how much you think that is working, especially based off of what you heard today. You are supposed to see that. Yes, it is for $24.99, which is a steal because most people pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to just get the information that you see today. Yes, $24.99, and we will bring up the ladies later to answer any questions you have about the program. So moving right along, we actually have Janetta Wells coming up, who is one of the co-founders of this phenomenal program and the Phenomenal Youth Global Network. With over 20 years of experience in financial services, Ms. Wells is the CEO of Wilson's Financial Group, which is an Atlanta-based firm. As a former CRA officer, she champions fair lending in biopic communities and architect of non-bank lending programs. She volunteers for nonprofits empowering underserved individuals. Ms. Wells aims to create an investor class advocating self-sufficiency through tools like cash value life insurance and smart investments for wealth accumulation and financial control. As a stakeholder at Rice here in this building, Ms. Wells has seen its transformative impact. Rice is a dynamic hub that accelerates business growth and fosters innovation, benefiting both her projects and the wider investor community. So bring up Ms. Janetta Wells to talk about
So, I am here to kind of talk to you about some alternatives to investing. We actually in this building, start talking about Black Wall Street and ticker tape and talking about the different NASDAQs. And I'm sure kind of IG and you've heard about investing in stocks and bonds. Well, I want to talk about kind of doing that same thing, but we need to do it in companies that represent us, that support our efforts, our needs, and support the things that we need in communities, i.e. by helping communities. I worked for a very large bank for a long time and did my job so well that they kind of had me sign a NDA to leave because some of the things they kind of didn't want to get out. The question was whether it was legal, not ethical. And at a certain point in your life, sometimes you may want to go down an ethical way. And I decided that I could make money in an ethical way. And not necessarily just be legal, so to speak, because slavery was legal at one time. So, it's not always about what's legal. So here I am wanting to talk to people about new ways of getting their business funded and also building a new investor class. How can we have our money travel in our communities more than 7 seconds that it stays in currently? So that this is what we're talking about. So the first thing I would like to talk to you about is about the $7 trillion in assets that the baby boomers are going to have to transfer from retiring from their businesses to retiring from their jobs and having huge investment accounts, huge retirement accounts. How can we as business owners cash in on it? How can we be a part of this wealth transfer? And the first things that we can do, one of the biggest things we can do is to acquire our growth through acquiring businesses. As opposed to always having to start from the bottom and pull yourself up from your bootstraps. That's very unrealistic in today's age. When you're talking about less than 1% of venture capital going to BIPOC women, especially, and less than 2% going to BIPOC, well, I won't say BIPOC, but Black people in general. So we're talking about 2% of all of the investment dollars in this country do not go to our businesses. You've heard about all the lawsuits with all the different banks that have traditionally not funded us. So we need to find another way, and we're pretty good at that. It was a time where we didn't have a choice but to find alternative ways. So I'm saying, let's go back to that. And the first way we can do that is to try to acquire businesses. So what does that look like? What do I need to do to be able to acquire a business? Mostly you just need to have expertise. There are ways that we can go about buying other businesses. So you are, for instance, I'm working on a transaction right now. The lady's been an anesthesiologist for 15 years. She makes a little bit over $500,000 as working as an anesthesiologist through hotels. Not a bad salary, not a bad amount to make, so nobody's crying for her. However, she works 50 hours a week. She has children. She's burnt out what can she do to actually enjoy this $500,000 that she's making a year? So what did she want to do? She wanted to go out and start her own practice. Start from the bottom, you have to get patients, you have to do everything, get contracts. It's the same thing in order to be able to really capitalize on the business part. So what we did with her, instead of her starting from the bottom, we hooked her with a pain clinic that was going to sell. It was an African-American owned pain clinic. They did about $12 million in gross receipts a year. And we did it where she was able to do what they call a reverse merger. So there was participation from the seller of that business that wanted to stay in and stay shared, so he can keep that asset in his books and be able to pass that on to his family. And also there was some mezzanine lending, which is a small bridge loan that we can get through grant funding, get through raising money from other people, that was also used to purchase it, and along with the assets that the business already had. And they were so that way she did not have to come up with a lot of money in order to purchase this business. So if you are a professional, like in this building, we are very much about planting and raising investable, bankable CEOs. We have the expertise. What we're missing is access to the capital a lot of times to be able to leverage that. So what our intent, or my intent personally, the mission that I want to do is to be able to take that expertise and show you a different way to monetize it. Of course, you can start your own business, and of course, you can do all of these things, and of course, you're an entrepreneur, so you have the grit and the belief. You're not taking anything away from that because you're still going to need it to run a $15 million business. But how about we do that and we don't have to start out with grocery receipts for $50,000? You keep the C-level suite people in these businesses. If they're already operating in the black, then these are good investments for you as well. So just to like really open people's minds, like how to scale and expand your business and your professional services to people. How do we go about finding these businesses? Again, we're talking about $4 trillion that are gonna be, someone that has a good business that's wanting to retire or wanting to do something else, and their kids have absolutely no interest in that business. They don't know about it. They benefited from it, but they don't want to get on the roof and fix the roof. But the father has been in business 25 years and sent all his kids to college. Everybody had a new car, but they don't want to have anything to do with the business. No worries. There are plenty of those, and every business is not going to be 17 million or 17, or $5 million. You might acquire a business that's only doing 2 or 3 million. But again, you don't have to go out and procure your own contracts. You have a good base to build on. You're buying an asset that is already income producing, which is the most important thing. So that usual 2 to 3 years that you have to go and figure out how you're going to pay debt service, all the loans that you get, and all, you skip that part. Now you're starting with a good foundation that's much easier to scale from that point. So I know I've kind of been talking about the acquisition part. Does anybody have any questions about what it is that I'm talking about when I'm talking about acquiring a business that is already running and ready to go? Do you see the benefit in doing that as opposed to having to start from the bottom? For what it is you're doing.
Question, so do you put guardrails up in terms of the acquisition, so, helping to review the financial statements, so that way, the new buyer is clear on if the company truly is in the black and not some sort of, hidden, I don't know, whatever.
Absolutely, you wouldn't do it without it, and I don't want to make it seem like it's, okay, I'm gonna order a number 5, and it's gonna come down, and go around to the window, and here you go. It's definitely not that. And so, but there is always that transition period, which is also part of the internal acquisition of the company. So when you want the seller of that company who built this, who this is their name, their hard work and sweat to, you want them to participate. So that's gonna be part of it. So you're gonna, when you buy this business and you get the majority of the shares, they're still gonna be your business partner, so to speak. They're gonna stay in it because they're gonna want the rest of their money. from what it is, right? Because they're gonna hold shares to it, so it's $1 million company, you're gonna give them $250 down, they're gonna keep $250 in shares, and the business, and you're gonna use the assets from the business to buy the rest of it. So most definitely, in order to be able to do these things, we're gonna have to go through everything with a fine tooth comb. And a lot of these businesses, especially businesses owned by, smaller entrepreneurs, you might have to go in there and clean up some things. They have a 25-year reputation. Everybody knows Mr. Otis with the car repair shop. He's been open 25 years, and you surprised he got on overalls every day, but Mr. Otis sitting on about $4 or $5 million business, because this is what he figured out early, what he loves to do, and he maximized that thing. But Mr. Otis might not be the best bookkeeper, right? So we're gonna have to dig a little and help Mr. Otis, but again, this is all about the transference of wealth, not to let Mr. Otis's business die. Why should we let $2 million just go away that is being generated in our community? When Tyrone down the street, he's doing the cars in his driveway, but you're taking them to him because he's good. You have to be willing to meet people where they are and kind of open your mind to things you wouldn't think would be producing. I think about how Asian people have come to the country a lot of times and they open up restaurants, and the quality of the restaurant and the buildings that they're in, they're not spending the money to put back in there. They're putting the money back into maybe growing the business and open up another location that probably will be the same way. We have to kind of do that same thing. Don't look at Mr. Otis's building because it's maybe what is in the hood in 15 years that's going to be gentrified. You're going to wish you had done those types of things. So I just, the people who are here doing business every day, got entrepreneurs in here every day doing business. So my hope is that you as a W-2 or a person working in your own business, and you might have only done 200,000, 250 in gross receipts, but you're very good at what you do. Maybe someone else is a supplier to you and he's ready to go. Maybe you have a beauty shop, and the guy that brings all your shampoo, he wants to go out, he wants to retire. This is an acquisition for you. Not only does it raise your business, but it also lowers the cost of running your business because now you own part of your supply chain. These are all things that you have to think about, and these might be small acquisitions. Maybe a shampoo guy is only doing a couple $100,000 a year. He just wants to get out, but he has the contracts, he has the access for you to be able to buy the supplies you need, and now you can supply other people in your industry the same way. And now you're getting your products for wholesale as opposed to retail. So that kind of stuff always affects your bottom line. So it's not just about going and trying to buy a business exactly as what you do. Maybe when you do business, there's several other things that have to come into play to help you run your business. So maybe one of your verticals might be one of your suppliers that's going out of business. So just open your mind into ways to scale your business, because when you're buying business, you have to think about it like you're buying cash in hand. Because you're not going to buy a business you might. There are times where you might buy a business failing so you can get a good deal on this business, and you know that you're coming in the door with some contracts and you might need this person's infrastructure. But for the most part, if you're buying a business in black, you have to think about it like you're buying a book of business and you're buying cash. That'll immediately be an asset on your new balance sheet under your company. We got all these other tax people that'll tell you the best way to set that up, enterprise structure, or your S-class or your C-class. So they'll tell you how to do that. My job is to kind of get you to open your minds in different ways to scale your business at the end of the day, and not just think, oh, okay, well, my credit is good, so now I'm gonna go get a bunch of credit cards, or I got my business, I got my Dun & Brad score is so high, and I'm just gonna go get a bunch of credit cards. That's not the only way to scale your business, which kind of brings me to my second thing to think about, which is founder financing or crowdfunding. So in 2008, Obama signed into the Jobs Act a way for non-accredited investors to invest into your business. The same way you buy Tesla, you can buy into Mr. Jerome down the street now.
Mr. Jerome is gonna have to come about and hire some professionals, that have the right licenses through SEC and FINRA to help you. But now you don't have to only open up your investment opportunity to people that are accredited investors. And a lot of times, a lot of accredited investors aren't gonna look like you. So this is the problem with a lot of our businesses, biopic businesses, is that our friends and family round doesn't look like other folks' friends and family round. Other folks and their friends and family round raise $2-3 million. So I could get a little money from my grandma, right? But she gonna need that back. And I'm gonna hear about it at every Sunday dinner about how I pay her money back. So, and which is wonderful.
You can even get it from her.
Listen, have it. They don't think it comes to need you to help, right? So that's the reality of what we're dealing with. So what this opportunity of this crowdfunder, what I call founder financing, does, it allows you that people that believe in you can now invest in you, and they can show you that by investing in your business. It's the same way that people buy shares in all these other businesses. We can do here. Black Wall Street, ticker tape, all these black businesses, we're trying to show how the money can stay in our community. So you have an opportunity to support yourself. Some of these shares go as low as $10 for you. So the same way you buy fractional investments in these mainstream companies, you can also buy fractional shares in your cohorts company, your friends, your family, to really support them in a way, and then have some insurance and some compliance to go along with that, which is our problem. We loan our friends money, and now our friendship is over. You don't want friends and family to mix. Now you got a buffer and the SEC and some lawyers and some accountants and all these good things to help you manage. And now with fintech, which is what I work with a lot, you're compliant, they show you what these businesses qualify for, what they've done. You get all your history through the technology. So now you can, as your business, when you want to get your first, because you can be a new business, a brand new business, because most of the time when we go about doing these, we start out what they call a special purpose vehicle. So the business hasn't made any capital yet. So people are really investing in and betting on you to be successful at what it is that you tell them you're going to be successful at. So it's not so much based on the business and the revenue, it's more based on the founder. That's why I call it founder finance. Do people believe that you can do the things that you're going to say you're going to do in your business? This now allows people to invest in you as opposed to the mechanics. Now, they're going to want to see who is going to be operating the mechanics. Otherwise, it's going to be hard to sell it. It's just like selling anything else. If people don't know who's making a potato salad, they might not eat, right? So it's the same thing. They need to know who you're going to bring in. What are the chances of you? Are you asking for enough money to do the things that you're saying? If you're savvy as an investor, if you go in not asking for enough, they know that they're getting ready to throw their money down on a black hole. You don't have any idea how to run the business that you say you're going to do. So this is part of, the compliance that goes along with the founder financing as well. So these are alternative banking things that you can do to raise money for your business besides going to get debt. The whole point of this conversation is for you to think of ways that you don't have to go get a bunch of debt to start your business for the first couple of years, because 50% of the businesses that start are, especially in our community, biopic communities, if you make it past year 2, and don't fail, then you are in the minority. Most of the businesses, because you start out the gate with just enough and you kind of strong arm your business, hustling over here to put the money back over here, it doesn't allow for you, one, to spend the time you need to concentrate on building your business only, because you have to work in it. And it also puts you in a position where you're paying interest on money that you haven't even earned yet, right? So these are two, like if there was anything you shouldn't do when you're investing in something, these are two things that we have to do to start our business, because we don't want to work, as Wise always says, on the plantation anymore, which is a very admirable thing to do, but there are alternative ways to getting yourself into debt, in doing that. So, go ahead.
So how can we find the businesses? Like, is there, or can we have a campaign where we can like scout the businesses, or like, how do we find the businesses, or kind of, we can start working on that?
So there are several business brokers out here. If you're a realtor, you can do that. You can hire your realtor. Realtors have, their licenses allows them to be business brokers. And again, a lot of that has to do with the real estate as well. So everybody in here in real estate, a lot of times when people are getting ready to sell their commercial property, there was some operating business at one time doing that. So a lot of times the same place that you go to find your real estate clients, a lot of times you'll find business owners, especially if you're in commercial real estate. And right now, commercial real estate, as far as office space, is in the toilet. So you really do need to diversify who you go to get your property to sell, honestly. But yeah, so those are a lot of places you're not even thinking about that. Usually there was something operating there, and it might be like a lot of times when businesses are scaling and they're going to move to another location. A lot of times that is also an opportunity for the same type of business to kind of go in there, and they may be willing to do some kind of partnership or some kind of franchise with you in order to scale their business at the same time and allow you to come in underneath a brand that is already going. But there are several business brokers out there and business brokers. But I am hoping that we can go out and kind of find businesses in our community, because I am attached to a couple of business brokers. They are usually Asian or Indian descent, and a lot of times like gas stations and vape stores and just other like just convenience stores in general, they sell those within the community. And a lot of times they sell those between each other. And there's also real estates that come with it. So not only are you buying cash, but you're also buying another asset, which is real estate. And you're buying a business that, if allowed to keep operating, you don't have to come in and you don't have to be hands-on, because a lot of these people that are now selling these businesses were never hands-on in that business. They kind of got some grants. We can get into that a little bit more about how we can benefit from those same types of incentives that they pay other people from other countries to come over here. We can do the same thing as well. Any other questions? I'm sorry.
Crowdfunding,
Yes.
how to go about that, where we go to find the website.
Okay, so you can definitely join us, because I'm definitely starting that process. I've already done a couple raises at this point. One was for a development, so you can also do real estate development. We're doing real estate development through the crowdfunding. And I also did a building material manufacturer is also doing that. So, but it's called, there are several platforms out here like TrialVest and that kind of thing. I think that you need if you're gonna do it for a business wise, I really believe that you need a little bit more compliance with that. And so I've partnered with one of the largest fintech, financial technology firms out there to help manage that. In the last 2 years, they've raised over $27 billion for funders. And a lot of it, of that, 60% went to startups. So it's definitely out there, definitely can be done. Just nobody's taking the time to really focus on biopic communities. There's a lot of tech that's benefiting, a lot of overseas technology that's benefiting, but there hasn't been anyone that's kind of standing in a place with a succession plan, because we don't do that. A lot of us don't plan that way, which is the point of this whole thing. Is really about the succession of your wealth. If you're out here giving your time, trading your time for money in any way, whether it's to an employer or to your customers, what are you gonna do? How are you gonna pass that on to whomever, whether it's your kids, maybe you don't like them, maybe you wanted to go to someone else that is gonna do it, but you need to be able to dictate what this is about. And all this is about is planning a succession of the things that you put in here. You are in this matrix, as Wise says, giving your time for whatever it is that you are agreeing every time you decide to do something. So you need to be in control of that from the time you decide to do it to the time you're not here anymore. And that's really what this is. So as far as doing this, it's a process. It's SEC website, you can go on it. I do recommend you get an expert to come in and help you do the analysis, and help you. You're gonna need a lawyer that has certain licenses to be able to file the SEC paperwork. You're gonna need an accountant because they're gonna require certain things before you can be a security, before you can issue securities. So there's a lot of things that you're gonna need professional services for to get it done. But as far as finding out the steps and how to do it, you can just Google and get the steps. But again, like I tell everybody with the 60-second IG page, and I think you know everything, it'll cost you more not to get on somebody who spends all their time doing this so they can get you to the right lawyer, to the right account. And a lot of times that'll be way less than if you walked into the door not knowing how to speak the lingo. They're gonna try to get everything just like walking into a mechanic shop and not knowing kind of what's going on. So definitely can help you here, but first thing you do need to try to find an expert, maybe a broker dealer. Security broker dealer can also help. But here I'm trying to make it affordable because a lot of times those broker dealers are very expensive. So my idea is to try to make it accessible and affordable for you here. No worries.
So you get the classes here, if you saying like we get a membership here, then we can take the course.
Well, I'm at a membership with the Wealth Expansion Blueprint. But part of what, you're gonna need professional services, so eventually you're gonna have to hire someone to kind of help you walk you through it. But most of the time, those expenses, other than what the attorney is gonna charge and the accountant, most of any fees that go along with it can come out of your raise. So it won't be monies that have to come out of your pocket directly. So basically, we're not successful in helping you raise the money nobody needs. Is kind of the way that it goes.
Any other questions? Well, thank you, Donetta, for
So I have to give a quick little story. And so Donetta and Ashley and I were eating at the restaurant a few weeks ago, and they thought I was asleep at the table, but I was very tired. And however, I was listening to their conversation at the same time. And sometimes you just have to be silent and take in the information. And so I learned a lot from them during that conversation. I know you can learn a lot more from them joining the membership and just being in their presence. So I just want to thank you so much again for putting on this great event. So last but not least, we have the last pillar of wealth, which is owning wealth. And we will bring up Aquarius Maximus to the stage, who is a tech and blockchain pioneer for 20 plus years, who excels in engineering, design, data science, and AI. She is the author of Crypto for My People and AI, I know, right? I heard that, I was like, oh, I love it. And AI Explained, where she simplifies complex topics. Recently, she launched Walkcoin X, I hope I pronounced that right.
yes.
Yay! Expanding her decentralized currency, Walkcoin, which makes her the first woman of color to independently launch a Web3 chain. Let's give a clap for that. Since founding Walkcoin in 2016, she aims to stimulate economic growth in the Black community and globally recognized. Aquarius advocates for tech diversity and educates on cryptocurrency's potential, featured in outlets like Glamour, CNN, Forbes, Bloomberg, and CNBC. And she'll be back momentarily. We'll bring that up.
Aquarius Maximus, she is leading the edge of innovation in so many ways. Not only is this young lady someone who is an advocate for Black voices when it comes to cryptocurrency, she is a phenomenal prophet. When I say that this young lady, she sees the signs and the trends of our time, and she's applying it in a way that can not just build economic equality for Black people, but she's doing it for women, she's doing it for all people of color. And I'm really excited that she's here today. So come on.
Everybody. So the whole world of crypto and blockchain is just like so much. So I try to shrink it down into you know, kind of like a little bit of what you need to know. Because believe me, it is a world. It is a rabbit hole of all rabbit holes. I like to always start out with clarifying that yes, crypto is money. Yes, it is replacing the money that you currently have been talking about today. And that's fortunate and unfortunate because my goal is to make sure that we're not last to adopt as usual. You know, because this is one of those things that the people who are first to adopt are the ones that are the winners. You know, so people come to me all the time and they're like, well, how can I make money in crypto? Now, first of all, it is money. But they come to me and I'm telling them, I said, well, the people who have done well in crypto are the first people who were first to show up to crypto, to any crypto, to projects. Because how crypto began was as a community. That's how it started. I was around in the beginning. It was all about community. It was like build this community and we build this value and we build this coin, we build this project, we build this blockchain. And unfortunately, that's something we struggle with, is building community. But guess what? This is the thing that can help us build community because it's nothing that brings people together more than money. I tell people that all the time. I'm like, that's what brings people together because that is the reason why we have an economy, a bustling economy at times. People don't care who you are, they're gonna take your money. You know what I mean? Money is accepted everywhere. They don't care anything about your personal business. So we can literally do that within the framework of blockchain as well, because that's what we're building our financial system. I'm not a PowerPoint person, because I'm gonna tell you, I came from corporate, and there was two things I was leaving behind in corporate, and that was meetings and PowerPoints. So I'm telling you that right now. I was like, I can come on the head. I can tell you everything you need to know, but I'll leave these things behind. But a little bit about Watt's background, and she did talk about it. I initially built Watt because, okay, this is for the culture. It came out of my first startup back in 2014, which was a platform called Safe2Me. And it was supposed to be the world's first peer-to-peer verification platform, verifying someone's safe in less than 5 minutes. So it's very actually needed right now. And I was way ahead back then, but I built it and I was super excited about building it. And I was like, okay, I'm this techie, I'm the next, Bill Gates or whatever, everything everybody wanted to say about me. But that's when I found out that Black women don't get funded. So I was severely let down at that point. I had a $1 billion team. I had an advisory board that was composed of 2 billionaires, a couple of millionaires, very, very well known in the industry, and we still couldn't get money. So I walked away, quit my own company, and I saw my colleagues doing crypto and blockchain. And this was brought to me back in when Bitcoin first started. And believe me, just like a lot of y'all out there, I didn't realize it was money. Because had I realized it was money, I would have paid attention. So obviously God was trying to get to me really early too, trying to set me up so that I could build this all myself because I would have had the money to. But I kind of put it to the side. I didn't really understand it. But it was at 2014 where it dawned on me, this is money. And that means that we need to be building our own. So I started Blockcoin then. But as I traveled the world, I've been to Belgium. As I traveled the world, I went to Belgium, I went to Germany, I went to just all these incredible places, so many incredible people that were like, we need this. And they weren't just like us. You know what I mean? My first call I got was from Mexico. It was a Mexican couple that called me and said, we really need this. So I have since then definitely expanded my vision to be more inclusive, to be more world inclusive. But I'm so really bullish about my folks because of where I come from and my friends and my family. And I'm like, look, this is our opportunity. We are leaders when it comes to influence. People look at us to see what we're doing, what we're into. So this is an easy thing for us let's do this, because we can pour all of our value, all of our creativity, because that's where the value of crypto comes from. It comes from you, it comes from the value of the people. People always ask me, what's backing it? You, you're backing the dollar, you know? So we're asking you to divest yourself from the dollar and invest yourself into something else, because that is what they're doing globally. That is what this whole BRICS thing is about. That is what all of it, they're divesting from the dollar very quickly. There are people right now, and I kid you not, they call me every day because I'm so-called the queen of crypto. And they call me and they're like, hey, I got somebody who wants to do $200 million a week in Bitcoin. So can you make it happen? Hell no, I can't make it happen. First of all, it ain't enough. It's not enough. It's not enough Bitcoin for you to get it. And they make it very hard for you to get it. It is institutionalized fully. You know, I don't care. So I'm sorry, it sounds lovely, but I can't help you.
I heard a statistic that they're saying that black wealth will be at 0 in 2054
Right.
because of this shift, because of the, the currency shift, the digital stuff
Right.
like that. We're just not plugged in
Right.
about, and that's really scary to say 30 years
Right.
that the black net worth will be at 0. So like, what do we do to prevent that? Like, what exactly do we do?
Well, I'm gonna get to that. I'm gonna get to that. Yes, wealth is getting rid of their cash, period, by boatloads. They are dumping the dollar. Like I said, $200 million a week, he wants to get rid of in Bitcoin. He's like, please, I gotta do whatever I gotta do. Blah, 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 blah. Yes, I get calls like this every other day from extremely wealthy individuals, right? So I already know what's going on. So the panic is on. The panic to get rid of that USD is on.
What's preventing you from accepting that? I didn't.
Well, first and foremost, there is a process. You know what I mean? When you're dealing with that kind of money, there is a process. And they are limiting where really truly what you can buy in Bitcoin. They may not tell you this, but that is the reason why wealthy people are running around going from hot to hot, seeing where they can get it. They're gonna get it on the streets if they can get it on the streets, but they can't get it that way. You know, because you have to go through the proper channels still. There's institutional in-betweens. I have to do KYC. I have to do this. I have to report to this authority. I'm not going to jail for you. You know what I mean? So again, it's not as free and as anonymous as people think it is. It was never meant to be anonymous. It was meant to be trackable. But you know what? I always say that Black folks don't need anonymity. We need transparency. That's why it works for us. It doesn't work for the people who got a lot of money, but it works for the people who don't have a lot of money.
So is your coin considered a token?
No, it's a coin. We have our own blockchain.
Okay, so within the commercial, I'm just thinking about commercial real estate, and I think they're doing more in that sector with blockchain and
Yes.
the acquisition of
Yes.
properties.
Yes, we're currently working on a new token standard, which has already been released. It's a hybrid token standard, and it's not been officially accepted. We have a layer 2 that runs smart contracts that are Ethereum compatible, but we're not compatible, but we're compatible with the software. So whenever they come out with a new token standard, we can use that token standard as well. So they came out with a new token standard that deals with fractional ownership, right? So people are looking at that for real estate. So real estate investments, anything of offline investments, they're looking at, everybody's been interested in fractional ownership, right? Because they want to be able to jointly go into something and own a fraction of that, and it be tokenized. So that we could take our tokenized fractions and trade it if we want to. So that is the big thing going on. And it's good and it's bad because Wall Street has heavily led where crypto is going. And unfortunately, that has X'd out a lot of people, the people who crypto was originally made for. Now, whoever Satoshi Nakamoto is, I'm pretty sure he was quite upset with the direction of where Bitcoin has gone, back in the hands of the institutions that it was meant to pull out. But Bitcoin's not the only chain, and that is the point. So we have Blockcoin, there are other platforms out there, and we've flown under the radar for years. We launched in 2017. And when I say by flown under the radar, that means that we haven't allowed ourselves to be taken over. Nobody has come and said, you know what, here's $10 million. What can I get? I can buy up the ecosystem with $10 million and own and influence the chain, even though it's decentralized. We have not done that. We've been totally organic. You know what I mean?
What about when people have like, oh, people lost Bitcoin and they take big losses, like what is that, what's going on with the losses and the gains in Bitcoin?
Those people have never lost, they sold. So instead of, I guess, holding on to what they hold on, when they start to see the value go down, they get scared and they stop. Therefore, now they've lost it in what they've invested in because they got out because they were scared, So that is what when you say when you lose money in crypto. But crypto is money. So the idea is that you get in a project early, you're accumulating those coins, you never lose them. And I'll give you an example. One of the people who got involved with Blockcoin, she's actually a customer service supervisor at Xfinity. She has more Block than I do. She stands to be the wealthiest person in Block when this really takes off. And I remind her that every day because I'm very proud of that. But she got in as a staker. So when she came in, she purchased something called master nodes, which are nodes that stake coins. She had, I think, 10 nodes and eventually grew to 20 because as you get more coins, you can get more nodes. Our initial investment was something like maybe $10,000, right? So needless to say, where she's at right now is about 10 million coins. Back 2 years ago, I ran out of coins and I purchased coins from her. I purchased 30 grand worth of Block from her, right? So she made 30 grand off me of a $10,000 investment and still going. Her machines are still making coins. So she's set to become a liquidity provider in the future. So when everybody else wants to get Block, they're gonna go to her through maybe the exchange. She's one of those providers. She's a banker. She's a treasurer. She's everything from just getting in early and becoming that still stakers. And stakers and miners, those are the meat and crust of the crypto industry. They're the ones that are making most of the money, period, because they're literally making money.
Man, all these terms are just so over my head, I'm trying to grasp all of it.
I'm just saying, yes.
So when you come in as an investor, a part of your compliance is that you have to have that investor registered with the SEC, is that?
No, we're not SEC regulated because we are not a security, right? But if anybody who comes to me with any amount of money, considerable money, has to go through the proper channels of KYC on my behalf so that I could say that, no, I didn't bring in a money launderer or a terrorist or something like that. I have to account for all the money that comes to me directly. But if you go to the exchange, I don't have anything to do with that. We're out on an exchange. Now, what I deal with is validators or master nodes. I don't do master nodes anymore, but I do something called validators. So our layer 2, instead of having master nodes as validators, so what validators do is they validate every transaction to make sure that this transaction is legit. It's done by software, but you can own that machine that does it, and you get what's called block reward. That's what miners are getting. They're getting the coins that they created because their machines are the ones that are doing the work to secure the network and make sure that this network stays, going. So that's what I deal with. I deal with getting people into on the staking side. You become the big people. Now, everybody in crypto becomes a banker because literally your wallet one day is going to be your everything. Your wallet is going to be what contains the information, your identification information, what you own, who you got it from. Your wallet is going to be tied to your wallet. Everything. And that's for everybody. It doesn't mean we have it for you to walk on or not. That is where we're going. So we're going to a digital wallet-based economy. And that digital wallet is going to have all of these different things. So that's why I said it's not really anonymous like they say. It's pseudo-anonymous because no, you don't have your name and your social security number on it and your private data, so to speak. Everybody is able to see these things. However, it's still tied to you in some way. And if I needed to track you down or if the government needs to track you down, they can track you down. So it's a lot of misconceptions about what crypto is, what it does, how it functions, and it's done that way to purposely confuse you. Because when it comes time for them to hand you the government wallet with the CBDC or FedNow, you know, where they talk about, which they called me and got my advice on 2 years ago. This is all happening. You know what I mean? I just met with the Department of Treasury I met with the Treasury Council last year. And the purpose of my meeting and going to the Department of Treasury is to make sure that they stay as transparent on what they plan on doing when it comes to monetary policy, period, right? And they don't forget us, because that's what they do. You know, we're here, they forgot us in crypto. They got all of the crypto bros. Every time they have something, they're dealing with the crypto bros and not understanding that the crypto bros are not the only ones in crypto. So they're making laws for these people that affect the little people who don't even have the capital that these people have. So I don't want you to recreate this banking system. I don't want to have to get a banking license in all 50-some states, and I can't, you know, with crypto, because it's not meant to be that, you know? So I'm there to advise on regulatory laws and practices, et cetera, so these things don't happen. But at the same time, we need the people to show up and understand that this directly affects you. This is where you're going. And not only, and it's rewarding to show up early. That's the thing. It is very rewarding to show up early, period. Yes, there's lots of scams in crypto. There's lots of scams in money. Same people doing the scams in money doing the same scams in crypto. You know, send me your money, send me $1,000 and I'll do this for you. Or send me this and I'll do crypto for you. But that is why community has always been the real crust of what crypto project. Because getting involved with community educates you. We help each other. We support each other, because crypto doesn't have customer support. We're trying to move away from the middleman. This is your money. This is your bank. This is what you own. This is your responsibility. This is how you need to handle it. Because guess what? There's benefits in it being yours. It's benefits. People can't tell you who to send money, how much to send money to. You know, I can't freeze your account. I can't freeze your crypto account. Me, no matter how much business I do, I feel like I'm treated like the most poor person on earth. Last week I went traveling. I did this, I did that, and every 2 hours my bank account froze. You know what I mean? Like literally. So, you know, I'm like, you know, but they say it's expensive to be poor, right? So this eliminates that stigma, and will definitely build into the work and the value of the community, knowing that they have their own money that they can trade and that they can buy things and that they can pass on to their children and their legacy. So this is truly owning your wealth. This is the only way you're gonna own your wealth come the next decade on. So I'm talking about me. But, you know, I went over our mission, how crypto is being used. What we are trying to do is I'm working very hard with the merchants to set up merchants to be able to accept it, because that is a big part of usage. This is the thing, with Walkcoin, we stand to be the crypto that brings about the mass adoption of crypto, of the people. That is a big thing. There's still a big first that we can do, and it is that, and that is my goal. My goal is to bring real usage to this, like Satoshi Nakamoto wanted to do. So I will one day be called Satoshi Nakamoto, because that's what I want to do. But that is my goal. So we have to equip merchants with the software, with the backend liquidity, with everything, so that they can accept your currency when you come in their stores. And those are the things that we're working on. And understand, just because this is crypto and we're making money, it still requires capital, you know? But we refuse to take VC capital and this capital and that capital, because we don't want to be another Bitcoin, okay? We don't want to be owned by BlackRock or anybody else for that matter. We don't want to be an institutional instrument of volatility and this, and you hold it forever and the value goes up. To me, that is a very definition of greed. Money was meant to flow, currency to be used. So I have a lot of spiritual principles behind this too, as well. And the Buy Black movement. You know, I've changed that because I don't necessarily believe in Buy Black anymore. I believe in spending Black. I think spending Black is more powerful because if you come together with the community and you spend, you can always pull back your dollars. We got dollars to pull back, you know, and we can benchmark the data. Blockchain is data. If we decide that we don't want to support this because it doesn't support the community or the community's at risk for being gentrified or outpriced out and this, that, and the third, and we don't want to support the corporations that are going to fund that, we can do that because we can just say, oh, we'll take our dollars elsewhere, and then data will show that. So, but saying that you're going to divest from anything and not support anything has been a futile mission in the past because we have no data to back that up. They can turn around and be on the news tomorrow and be like, hey, our sales went up, blah, blah, blah. And be like, hey, weren't we boycotting them last year? You know what I mean? So data is important, and we will have data, which is also another currency. And it's another set of value. And that is where the value of a lot of this digital stuff is coming from now on these pages forward. It's coming from data. So benefits. I already told you the benefits as well. So what do you do now? There's a couple of things, there's a couple of action points. My first action point, I've been telling people recently, because everybody loves Coinbase and I hate Coinbase. I know people hate them. I hate to tell you, you know, I don't like the crypto industry at all. I'm not a favorite because I'm gonna speak the truth, the whole truth, remember the truth. So help me God. So, but since y'all like Coinbase, you can find Wildcoin, you can search and Wildcoin pop up, but it's not listed. We've had an application on Coinbase that's for 2 years. So the people have to show up. So you have to add Wildcoin to your watch list, and you have to tell other people, add Wildcoin to the watch list. But we're on an exchange called Probit. So if you are exchange friendly, you can go to Probit and get Wildcoin. That's another point. Another point is getting wallets, getting your family wallets, telling your family to install a wallet. It always starts with a wallet. It doesn't start with your money or having to spend money or having to invest money. It starts with something as simple as getting your wallet. That's it, you know?
You can get a wallet from Coinbase or?
No, you can get a Wacom wallet from Android, iOS in the Play Store. We have a desktop wallet. You go to Wacom.org, you can click on one of the links and get one of the wallets. And for Wacom X, which is our layer 2, we're in MetaMask. So you can get the MetaMask wallet for that. But getting a wallet is very, very effective because that shows that we got numbers coming in. So that's why currently I have a 1 million wallets campaign just to get people to get wallets, you know, and teach other people about wallets and important wallets and what this is going to be in the future. The next thing is validators. So if you're in a position, you say, yeah, I want to do something. I want to be involved. I want to earn some coins, and maybe I have a little bit of money to put in. So our validators are a one-time fee of $2,000, and you set it up, we build it, and then we give you the keys. And all you do is collect. But what a validator also does is a part of our governance. So you'll be called to vote. You will be essentially like a governor in this system. You'll be voting on issues. We might decide that we need to expand the chain. That's what validators do. We get together and vote on whether or not we're going to expand the chain. We might get together and vote and say we need more validators. Because right now we have the number of validators capped. So we might decide that, hey, we need more validators. We got a lot of people coming in, a lot of transactions. It's slowing down. Let's vote and see if we're going to bring some more validators in. So we vote on the blockchain to do certain things, and that is what the validators do. Our blockchain is what's called a proof of authority. There's different types of chain. There's proof of work, proof of stake, and proof of authority is ours. Proof of work is we have a mining, you know, and I'm not really good at it. Using up electricity and power and all this other stuff, and it's a mess. It's a hot mess. It really is. Proof of stake does not use that. It's a low power algorithm. It's using staking as its method of creating security on a chain. And proof of authority is similar, but you have to know it's not anonymous. The people who are validators are not anonymous. And it has a tiny bit of centralization because I feel as you know, the people, quote unquote, we need that. Like I said, we don't really need the anonymity. We need to know who the people are who are doing this, who the people are behind doing this. So we can kill all the conspiracy theories. So we can all be community and family and really kind of get this thing going. So like I said, I'm not really big on anonymity at all. You know, and as being a tech person and a tech founder, I've been in tech for almost 30 years now. I despise anonymity. I believe it's been a scourge of every problem we've had on the internet, from trolls to this to that to whatever. I'm all about transparency, and that's why nearly everybody in Blockpoint now has my phone number. And can call me and ask me questions and have conversations with me and stuff like that to know that, hey, I'm one of the people, I'm y'all. I'm a part of this as well. This is not a centralized thing. I am not a leader. I am now the evangelist. You know, so, but I am not the leader. We have nodes, we have people, we even have a foundation, you know, 501c3 foundation that deals with the education in Blockpoint. I have a trust. I didn't talk about trust earlier. I have a digital trust out of Wyoming that deals with my crypto companies that I had to create because I can't sit here and wait for other people to create the things that we need. So that's a little bit. Anybody got any questions?
You mentioned a couple of different changes in the proof of authority, which is the one that you all are offering. You said proof of stake.
Proof of stake,
And what was the other?
proof of work, that is big one.
Okay, and so I guess if you're on Coinbase, there's more proof of work that you consider.
No, they're all different types. There's thousands of coins on Coinbase now. Most of them are tokens, and most of them are stakes or proof of stake, because a lot of them are derivatives of either Ethereum blockchains or what we call Ethereum compatible or EVM chains. They're similar to Ethereum, like our chain. We have a layer 1 that's similar to Bitcoin, and we have a layer 2 that's similar to Ethereum. I initially built the layer 1 because honestly, that's what I knew how to build. Later on, I learned how to build an EVM, so we built that EVM. And the EVM is actually better because it's interoperable. That means, and we can actually build things. It's like an operating system versus just a financial chain.
I took the unit masters cohort class, you know, after you spoke on there.
You took the
Unit masters that teaches everything, blockchain, everything. I've seen that was a source you recommend for people to learn everything blockchain.
It depends.
So,
The thing is, if you're wanting, there are courses that teach you about the ecosystem and just using it. And then there are chains that teach you more from a development standpoint, like you're actually going to build something. Then there are courses that teach you that deal with trading, right? So understand that there's going to be a difference between the different ones. So if you're going to a course or a class, you want to make that distinction and say, hey, is this just for a regular person to learn how to utilize crypto or integrate it in my business maybe? Or is this so I can learn how to trade crypto? Or is this so I can learn to actually build crypto projects? So those are the 3 things that you're going to want to ask when you're looking into your course. Yes.
Blockchain Chamber of Commerce, which has been.
The Blockchain Chamber of Commerce, they're out of here. You're talking about, I know them, yeah, yes, great. A lot of the organizations out of Atlanta are pretty legit. They're good. They're building ecosystems. You know, they're doing education. They're doing good work. And you really want to look for stuff like that because, you know, they're really working to make Atlanta or Georgia be a beacon, like a huge DeFi, a place where DeFi, like I said, is really being used in real world situations. We're really trying to do that here. And we stand a chance to be the leading state in doing that.
I don't know nothing about like cryptocurrency, but I know what it's doing. I went and learned more about Blockpoint, just go to the website.
You can go to blockpoint.org, you can go to YouTube, tons of videos on YouTube, just look up Blockpoint. You can follow Blockpoint on social media, you can come to one of our town halls in the metaverse. Monday nights at 8 o'clock, we have a town hall in the metaverse. I built the metaverse world where we actually come together And no, you don't just have to have a headset, you can come on your mobile device or your computer. And it's usually Monday nights at 8 o'clock, and you get to ask any question that you want and listen to some of the things that we're working on in our town hall. And you have to ask a question about crypto, you can ask about crypto. We don't separate it. Like if somebody needs to know and wants to know something about crypto, we answer crypto questions.
What would be your suggestion for a beginning investment plan for somebody that's new to crypto? Like what kind of investment plan would you suggest for someone?
Well, you know, everybody typically starts out with Bitcoin because it's like a gateway to get you to other things or Ethereum. My suggestion is that you dollar cost average easy, you know, crypto, because that's usually like a lighter way for some people to do, where they set their wallets to just automatically purchase certain amounts of crypto over time. But you also want to find projects that you identify with. And know the difference between Bitcoin season and altcoin season. Altcoin is what's considered to be an altcoin. Anything that is not Bitcoin is considered to be an altcoin. And there are seasons. A lot of times Bitcoin will take off, and then altcoins will take off. So we're getting ready to go into probably more of an altcoin season as we get closer to the summertime. Bitcoin is getting ready to go through a halving, which is the reduction of the emission of the block reward. So there'll be less coins that are put out. So less, of course, means more scarcity. People get more excited and the price goes up. You know, but understand, you know, my personal feelings with Bitcoin is it's very institutionalized. You know, it's very controlled, it's very manipulated. So unless you got a ton of money to play around in there with, don't expect, you know, they're telling people, hold this and in 10 years, it's gonna be worth $1 million. Well, how are you gonna benchmark it against a dying dollar? I mean, I've always got, this is my number one Twitter post. How are you gonna tell me in 2 years, Bitcoin is gonna be worth $1 million to tell me that the dollar is gonna be worth zero? So isn't that like a million zeros? You know what I mean? So why is that? Because you're not building an ecosystem that creates value for Bitcoin outside of being attached to the dollar. Wow, I'm so smart. Shoot, if anything, I'm like, if you're into ETFs or you're going into funds or something like that, I mean, they're killing the game right now. But no, I'm not one of those ones that think you're gonna get rich off of Bitcoin. And honestly, I'm not one of those ones that think you're gonna get rich off of crypto. I'm one of those ones that says you want to save your life if you divest from the dollar.
Investing the dollar, is it really political or like it's just?
Think of it like this. When times get really crazy, the first thing people start thinking is, I'm leaving America. You know what I mean? I might buy me some land outside of America. I think I'll go buy some land in Ghana. I think I'll go buy some in the Caribbean. That's what you're doing with crypto. Things start getting crazy. Like, I think I need to put some money, a little bit of money over here in crypto and a little bit of money over here, because things are very uncertain. That's why during uncertain times is when crypto does best. You know, so instead of taking your money, whatever money that you, disposable money that you have, you need to be looking at putting it in alternative places. And I'm also big on not just crypto, I'm big on land. Get some land, get some things, but this is that time, obviously, that you need to be doing that type of thing.
Are you based here in Atlanta?
I am. I'm based in Georgia. I live in Atlanta, but I'm based in Georgia. Yeah, I'm not a city person no more. I was born in the city, and I came to the city no more.
Girl.
Yeah, I can't do it no more. But yeah. So I know it's a lot, and it's like I said, it's a huge rabbit hole.
It's intimidating.
But I feel that what I'm doing is more planting seeds, because when the time comes, you're going to hear it and you're going to activate. You're going to be like, okay, I know what to do. Then you're going to throw out all of that overthinking that you're doing about crypto and be like, okay, I just need to do this. Because it's a lot of, it triggers a lot of overthinking. That's why I try to bring it back to money. This is money. No time for overthinking. You know what I mean? And like you talk about risk tolerance, I'm not telling you to spend your life savings and go run and put it in crypto. Although it's what the rich people are doing. But I'm not telling you to do that. What I'm telling you to do is at least create an alternative for yourself, because initially what it was created for. Yes.
How much time do you think we have before we fully transition over to digital wallets?
I would say probably within the next 18 months.
Whoa. Completely transition?
No, full transition. You gotta understand, there are a lot of stores now that do not accept cash.
So like digital wallets, that would include debit cards?
Yes, it will, depending on how the banks are doing, which they're not doing very well right now. The banks, this is what happened. So 2 years ago, the banks were like, because I started a bank, a decentralized bank. So I was in partnership with some banks to create a crypto-friendly bank. So they were all good with it. Visa was throwing money at it. It was like, okay, we gotta do this crypto thing. They were all good with it. Then FTX happened. And the whole thing imploded.
That was the lawsuit.
The FTX, that was the exchange. So that was when this little guy got billions of dollars. And really, everybody was embarrassed that they wrote him $1 billion checks. So everybody was like, we gotta cut them crypto people off real subtly and quick because I don't want them tracing that back to us and our bank. So it's called contagion. So his whole, the whole thing just basically threatened the whole entire financial industry. So that is when we got our walking papers with our relationships with the banks, our walking papers relationship with Visa. All of them were like, nope, I'm sorry, we can't do crypto anymore. And do I think they're gonna stay like that? Oh no, absolutely, they're not gonna stay that way because they have to save their funds. So they will be back. But if they don't, they're in a rock and a hard place because they need to make that shift. Because they are the very ones that crypto threatened in the first place. So it's back to being threatened again, to threatened out of existence. So there's a lot going on. You have to watch. If I were going to say watch anything, you watch the international space. Watch what they're doing internationally. Watch how they're doing it. There are people in other countries that cannot get money. Like literally, in order for them to actually get money, they have to go through another person, and it takes maybe 2 weeks for them to actually get money in their hands or digitally or whatever. So they are so bullish about digital currency that they're doing all they can, throwing gold behind it, land, all of these things to get this thing going. And so the odds are stacked against us for staying the same. Period. We're forced to make a move.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Aquarius, for another dynamic session. I mean, goodness. I know I was overthinking crypto, so I have to take another look at it. So,
Still so much to see.
Right. Don't overthink it. I'm gonna tell you, my grandmother was 99 years old. She passed away last year. She was my biggest supporter in WAP. She knew about WAP. She knew what I was doing. She knew about crypto. She asked me questions. She's like, what's going on with WAP? What are you doing? This and that. And I was like, look, if my 99-year-old grandmother and my kids can get this, everybody can get this.
I'm trying to accept it.
Oh, you get crypto from my people at Amazon, and also AI Explained is also on Amazon.
Crypto for my people.
Yeah, crypto for my people.
I would love to hear from maybe 2 or 3 people to get takeaways from any of the sessions today.
Get it into a wallet.
Get the digital wallet, yeah.
Get it into a wallet.
Would you recommend a digital wallet?
So I told them to get the Blockcoin wallet. If you're going for regular wallets for other cryptos, you're gonna get MetaMask. That's how you're gonna use some wallets. MetaMask is getting more like a bank because they have ways where you can buy crypto in MetaMask and trade it in MetaMask. So you can get MetaMask. Another wallet I used to use a lot was BitPay because it's based out of Atlanta. But they changed, I think they've been suffering a little bit of the fallout from FTX as well, but they still have a good wallet. They used to give you a debit card with the wallet. That's why I said that. You have that, but you want to stay away from custodial wallets. So like exchange wallets, you don't want to leave your crypto on an exchange. That's why there are a lot of people right now crying about FTX, because when FTX folded, then they lost access to their crypto and lost hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars. You know what I mean? So you don't want to leave your money on an exchange. You just put money on an exchange so that you can get other crypto or so that you could trade, but then you turn around and pull it right off the exchange and put it in one of your local wallets. You don't wanna leave it there, but you don't really own it. They say, not your keys, not your cheese. So,
Thank you. One more takeaway. Don't be shy. Might call somebody. Nobody?
You have to plan for, you have to plan, have a plan as far as like what if you're gonna be needing to buy equipment or anything like that, you need to have a financial plan and a tax plan. So you have to plan ahead for what you need and what your business needs.
And I know finances for me is something I need to bring on home and tackle. Actually,
I just really opened my mind around ways that I can save and really, guard my wealth. I think the biggest thing for me was thinking about how I pay myself and grow my retirement account using the S-corp method to have that salary and invest into an IRA and then have my company turn around and do a double investment. I think that strategy is really significant for us. And then thinking about my children and adding them as employees and doing that same strategy, because the money that we can put away in those types of accounts today will really help me to accumulate wealth and really help my children to accumulate wealth. Even that key person insurance policy, just really thinking about how I can create the best business for myself and for my children.
that's a great way to end the takeaways because I took some notes and I need to go review that and I'll definitely call and I need to join the Wealth Extension Blueprint membership because I'll forget half of this stuff and be like, what did they say? So I'm definitely joining. I would like to thank you for allowing me to host today. And I'm going to bring up the ladies of the Phenomenal Youth Global Network for closing remarks.
To bring everybody up. Everybody has their own business, but we all understand that we need to get this information out and make it digestible. So I just wanted to get everybody back up here that made up this Wealth Extension Blueprint. Make sure you're everybody. And I appreciate y'all work with me. This is a long day and a lot of information, but please, 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 we are here to keep giving this information out. You know, we understand that some of this stuff is maybe cost prohibitive sometimes, but if you're really wanting to scale and kind of grow your business in a way that we talk about with our dreams, you can kind of start here. And we'll all be chipping in knowledge and information and then being a direct resource to you when you're ready to make the next step. So thank you for your time today.
Yes, I wanted to try to get all of us from that step. If you want to take a picture in front of your face as well, please. Let me get Thank you, and I take it because I would have forgotten. Yes, yes. Did you register? Did you register? So everybody that registered, we're gonna send them out.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You already invested? Oh, wow. That's